Are you aspiring to ace the UPSC CSE? Commence your transformational journey with the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation Course 2025. Empower your exam preparation through cutting-edge educational technology and personalized learning experiences with tech-enabled learning. Dive into concepts with animations, videos, and interactive tools designed for maximum understanding and retention. Personalized student portal. Access live classes, recorded sessions, and extensive academic resources, all at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Enroll now and step closer to accomplishing your IAS dream. With the Vision IAS Delhi GS Foundation Course 2025, batches starting from 31st August, 5 p.m., 17th September, 9 a.m., 24th September, 1 p.m., 30th September, 5 p.m.
Okay, good evening all of you. I hope you all are doing good. Okay, now this will be a discussion in two phases. Okay, one phase we'll have 5 years today and then we will have tomorrow. One second, we have ample of time because the discussion has been divided into two parts. So in between you can ask any question. Okay, the purpose of the discussion is because these questions have already been asked. Okay, so if I communicate the answer to you, okay, then it is not a complete thing, because whatever has been asked, at best they can repeat the topic. The most important mandate is you should be able to be speculative, intelligent about the future to the best of your wisdom. You should be able to see, with the passage of time, you should be able to see what is going to come. Okay, so it is more important to prepare you for tomorrow. Okay, that is something which is the principal mandate of this conversation that we'll be having. The topics has been divided. Okay, very briefly I'll take 4-5 minutes, which I regularly make this mention. I'm mentioning before you also. Some of you may have taken prelims to get in the past, and many of you are going to take prelims for the first time. Okay, you see this year's mains question paper, or if you see prelims this year was relatively on a lighter side compared to 2023. Okay, But when the prelims is easy, we will not take it as benchmark 2024. Why will not take this? I have been saying for years. We should always be ready for something more tough. Then only we will be comfortable in the examination hall. This year questions were relatively more direct, and they were they were predictable ones. Last year the questions were more conceptual. What is going on with the experience, seeing thousands of students and over the years papers? What is to be realized is that in last 2-3 years or after post 21, initially when this CSAT was introduced 2011, the nature of questions were relatively easy. But in last 3 years, they have changed the dynamics. What are the recent, just discussing this particular PDF is not the only mandate. Then how will you know what is going to come? What should be your style of preparation? First of all, it is not very very tough or something. Only thing is that UPSC in main stage of the examination, they are emphasizing more on analytical aspect. Okay. And UPSC wants to democratize the entire exam process. How? So that students preparing from anywhere in the country has an equal advantage. So rather than relying upon the conventional questions which they were asked before 3-4 years, they were predominantly asking conventional questions. Zillions of such questions were appearing which were conventional in nature. Who takes a decision under the 10th schedule? What is the nature of Indian constitution? What is constitutionalism? What is constitutional morality? What is liberty? What is absence of privileges? Or those questions were asked. But if you see last 2-3 years, they're asking more questions which are analytical in nature in prelim stage of the examination. So somebody who is, for example, they asked a question on Indian Prisons Act. So usually Indian Prisons Act or the entry 4 of the state list, that is prisons. So why they are asking these questions? Because they are repeatedly appearing in newspaper. So most of the questions which are mentioned in the textbook, few basic point I would strongly emphasize, because that is something which will help you, and actually you have taken your time, you have come here, it should help you. So if you see the nature of the questions, they have dissuaded from asking a direct question. Nowadays, those who have been reading newspaper throughout the year, they will have an edge. I'll give you an example. For example, what is judicial custody? What is police custody? What do you mean by payroll? What do you mean by furlough? What is Indian Prisons Act? These questions which are being asked, which are repeatedly appearing in newspaper, and those things which are given in monthly current affairs, those are important. But UPSC deliberately makes a choice to ask an analytical question which is not mentioned in any standard source. Matlab, things which is appearing consistently throughout the year, but it is not. For example, if you take M. Lakshmikant, undoubtedly it is the best compilation of notes. It is not a academic work. It is an academic work, but not some standard textbook. Basically, it is a notes where they have very, very beautifully, they have compiled everything. They have compiled everything at one place. It is wonderful, but undoubtedly it is not enough. You can just go through the question paper of last 5 years, and by yourself you can summarize that question. That, for example, in that it is given about secularism or liberty, but UPSC is asking a tricky one, that which of the following is the best definition of liberty? What France can learn from Indian secularism? So M. Lakshmikant is a wonderful book, but it will not do wonders when it comes to prelims and mains. It is not enough. It is not enough because analytical things are being regularly asked. So first thing and UPSC wants to deinstitutionalize the process. Only those who have access to quality education and those who are preparing from the remote hinterland, they should have an equal edge. So strongly reading newspaper is very strongly recommended. And while reading newspaper, those things which are conventionally coming every now and then, you should do some internet search on your own. For example, people going to judicial custody and police custody, what does it mean? These days, for example, issues going on related to any religious site, the sacrosanctness of a religious site, or matters related to police encounter, you hear. So all these things are consistently appearing in newspaper. You will, by the end of year, you will smile if you have done this work while reading newspaper. Everything that is conventionally given to you in the form of monthly current affairs and all. Other than that, also make some basic search on those topics. For example, time and again prisons is coming. So prison is in which list? They deliberately ensure that few questions they will ask which you will not find in any source. They deliberately do that. They take away all the sources maybe, and they ensure that few questions which are asked will not find. So reading newspaper throughout the year is one thing. Second, UPSC never used to ask articles. See, I'm teaching for 8-9 years, so after 100 batches, whatever, 50,000 students, I remember most of the articles. But is it possible for you to remember all the articles? Neither it is expected. And I have always recommended that state PSC used to ask articles, not UPSC. But last year and this year, last year they asked Article 335 and Article 16 Clause 4. This year they asked Article 109 of the Constitution. So now UPSC is also asking articles directly, which was never the case in the past. So why UPSC is asking articles directly? Because most of the students are reading secondary textbook, but they are not reading the Constitution. So I will strongly recommend you get an app of the Constitution. No need to have a hard copy. You get an app. If you have hard copy, that's fine. Those articles which are in news time and again, you will go and read them. And what benefit you will say, although I have the mandate to do, but still I will give you some example. For example, UPSC asks that what kind of vetoes are explicitly provided in Indian Constitution. They ask absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, pocket veto. So most of the people will think, okay, qualified veto is not in India, baki suspenses, absolute and pocket veto is there. But surprisingly, in Article 111, term veto is not even mentioned. So it is just in book you will find that veto there, since no time is mentioned in the Constitution within which the president will take a call, so they have interpreted it as pocket veto. So they asked the question, according to Constitution of India, Attorney General resigns when the government changes. So there is no such thing mentioned in the Constitution. So they strongly want those students who are not reading any secondary source, they are reading the Constitution also, which will hardly take half an hour, or there are few articles only which are repeatedly in news, that you must know the Constitution, few articles. I'm not saying, of course, if you will ask me, thankfully, I'll remember most of the articles, but you are not required to know. But strongly, I will recommend that second thing after newspaper, you should also go through articles of the Constitution, not memorize them, no need to memorize, but at least you should have an idea what is written in the Constitution. For example, you say special majority, effective majority, I can talk about the articles. Okay, Article 67, for example, you are talking about the effective majority, 368 special majority. So although the term special majority, effective majority, absolute majority, all these terms are not mentioned in the Constitution, by reading the article you interpret, oh, this is special majority, this is effective, this is absolute, and all those things. And importantly, if you see the Constitution, it says that by majority of then members of the House, in Article 67, by a majority of then members of the House, that has been interpreted as effective majority. So if you keep reading the book, you will see these things time and again appearing, but they are not provided in the Constitution, and they are asking a direct question from the Constitution. Even if you make one mistake, it's a big thing, because there are only 12-13 questions that are asked in polity, and if you are making 2 mistakes which are easy, then actually you are losing on thousands of students are there. So read the Constitution, no need to memorize, but those articles which are appearing time and again, you must read. Second. Third, primary sources thoda sa, for example, rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha. So there is a question also. So of course, you have Rule 198, no confidence motion, Rule 204, budget, Rule 7, Rule 8. Those things, I'm not asking you to read the rules. It will be foolish thing to read the rules. But those terms which are mentioned in Lakshmikant or Vision IS material, that you will read from the rules. Because if anyone has written anything, he has only taken it from the, from the rules only. So those things for which you have, I'm not asking you to remember more than 300 rules. 4-5 things are in news. No confidence motion, budget, adjournment motion, introduction of a bill. Those things you will read from the primary source also. And 2 years back, UPSC has asked a question, according to the rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha, the date of election of speaker is decided by the president. And that is Rule 7 and Rule 8. So you will go to the primary source. Third, do you expect UPSC to ask a question, what is Article 21A? I always say UPSC will not ask. Even a panwala here will say that Article 21A is right to free and compulsory education in the age group 6 to 14 years. But the next line says, as per law. So what do you mean by free? What do you mean by compulsory? Free doesn't mean free. Otherwise, KV will offer, is a government school, why it is charging a small amount of fees? Free means as determined by law. So you don't, now what is the difference between UPSC and other preparation? Article 50, if I will ask, you will say separation of judiciary from executive. UPSC will never ask what is Article 50. SSC will ask, state PSC will ask. UPSC will ask, what is the language of the constitution says, the state shall take steps to separate judiciary from executive in the public services of the state. So how public services of the state, there is separation of power between judiciary and executive and legislature, and importantly, it is judiciary executive. What is a commissionerate system? I'm not waiting for the day when UPSC will ask what is the difference between police commissionerate and other places. So police commissionerates are being created at fast pace. So in police commissionerate, police enjoys magisterial powers. Tomorrow, some of you would be joining as IPS and you will know that police commissionerate system is there. So all those things that are appearing in newspaper, you will go to the primary source. I'll give you one more thing. For example, if you say Article 40, everyone knows that the state shall take steps to organize village panchayat and endow them with such powers so as to enable them to function as units of self-government. So for UPSC, they are least interested in asking you that what is Article 40. If they ask you this question, they are being benevolent. They will not ask. They will ask what are the elements of self, challenges associated with self-government. I'll give you one or two examples, then we'll start. For example, UPSC last year asked a question in mains, do you think Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act is able to incentivize school education in India? क्या इस लॉ से बच्चों को, हर चिल्ड्रन कमिंग टू स्कूल, इट इज इनफ टू इंसेंटिवाइज द चिल्ड्रन? सो दे आर आस्किंग द क्रिटिकल evaluation of the law, because Article 21A says the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children in the age group 6 to 14 years in the manner state may determine by law. So to implement Article 21A, Parliament has passed Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act. What are the major sections of the Act? Teacher-pupil ratio, school management committee. What do you mean by free? What do you mean by compulsory? What should be capitation fees will be charged or not? It is banned. It's physical punishment, mental harassment will not be there. Function of school management committee. So you don't expect UPSC to give you Article 40, Article 21A, Article 22 and match the following. These questions UPSC, they will ask the question which is based on the concept. They expect you to know कि इतना तो student को, this much तो student knows. So your style of reading things should be, while reading newspaper, you should be absolutely vigilant. You are not supposed to go too deep, but you will see what is going on. Second, you will go to the primary source. One more example I will give, then we will start this. Article 18, when some of you have done your polity and all. So Article 18 clause 1 says, Article 18 clause 1, 2, 3 and 4. 18 clause 1 says Indian state shall not award any title except military or academic. Clause 2 says Indian citizen shall not accept title from a foreign state. Clause 3 says any person who is not a citizen of India, but he is working in an office of profit or holding a trust office under the government, he will not accept title from a foreign state without the consent of president. And clause 4 says that any person who is holding an office of profit or trust shall not accept any emolument, gift or any such office from a foreign state without the consent of president. अब ये यूपीएससी ने पूछा ही नहीं. Clause 8, 18 clause 1, 2, 3 and 4. Every child knows that Indian state will not award it. UPSC ने tricky question पूछ दिया. There is a website padmaawards.gov.in. When you will open about us, उस पेज से यूपीएससी ने 3 स्टेटमेंट ड्रॉ कर दिए कि अवार्ड्स वर डिसकंटिन्यूड वंस, ऑल्दो दे वर डिसकंटिन्यूड ट्वाइस. सो व्हेनेवर यू आर रीडिंग समथिंग, इफ देयर इज अ गवर्नमेंट साइट रिलेटेड टू दैट, it will take 5-7 minutes. You will go and visit. You are reading about National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe, Backward Classes Commission, Finance Commission, Central Vigilance Commission, National Green Tribunal. Anything you are reading, if there is a government site, official website, you will go and visit that. So you have, UPSC doesn't, matlab what is visible directly. Gone are the days when UPSC will ask a full form of Niti Aayog, which they asked in 15 or 16. So these questions they no longer ask, they ask analytical questions. Throughout the year, people are being arrested, jailed. So they asked a question on police and judicial custody. They asked the question on CBI and ED. So you should be smart enough to speculate what kind of questions come. That you can do by reading the newspaper and being at ease. Then you will be having edge over other students, because conventionally what is given in the textbook, one day before exam, if I will ask almost everyone from this red light to that traffic light, every aspirant knows what is given in Lakshmi. How you will have an edge? So UPSC is not framing direct question. Now I'll give you many examples and then we will see. Any question you want to ask from anywhere, you can ask, no problem. Any question. Now, dear student, for example, we have year-wise and topic-wise compilation. Okay. Now, you see here, there is how many questions are related to, so government schemes and initiative. Now listen, where students, because everyone has a job to do, I has a job to do, I interact with students. When they ask question from constitution, students don't make mistakes. Students usually make mistakes when they ask question from governance. And of late I am saying कि UPSC has already exhausted most of the questions. In 1979 they introduced prelims. Uske pehle, when my father appeared, at that time there was direct mains, but number of candidates started increasing, so they introduced the concept of prelims in 1979. Most of the questions from the topic UPSC has already exhausted. Those conventional questions which they will not ask. Now they are asking more questions from governance. Gati Shakti Yojana, anything, Atal Pension Yojana, so Pradhan Mantri Gram, anything related to farmers scheme or Ayushman Bharat. Kyun? Also, for example, I'm recruiting you as a, what you call, as a sports coach. Then I will not test you on your cooking skills. I will test you on your sports skills. So they are employing you as a civil servant, so you must be well acquainted with government schemes. Believe me, this governance part is, most of the time I see students are facing problem. I'm very sure that most of the students I ask question on fundamental rights, DPSP, judiciary, and they will answer. When it comes to governance, they make maximum mistake. So reading newspaper, those schemes which are coming time and again. And one very important thing, there are hundreds of schemes. You should be diligent enough to know that this is important and this is not, because it is not possible for a human being to remember all. So governance part, say prelims mein, they are asking more questions. In governance part, they are asking more questions in prelims, and those people, because conventional questions they have already exhausted. All the questions almost student memorize. After 1 year preparation, they will memorize. So reading newspaper, those schemes that are appearing, you have to use internet very, very diligently. It's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it has social media also. Other hand, it is absolute oxygen. So must learn the art of using and be speculating. All these things will come while you read newspapers. Whatever is going on, you will think something which others have not thought. Something which is not direct. They are not asking question from Monthly Current Affairs magazine is wonderful. It's a benchmark for the industry. At the same time, you must also do some search on your own related to the topics. Okay. For example, this question is there. We'll start with this. This was asked in 2015. I will not quote this as an easy question. This is ultra easy. If this question a student has not been able to, because this is directly given from the constitution. But as we move after 2019, you see the nature of the question. There they will not ask a question on these easy chintu questions, I call them. So they don't ask these questions. You see, it says Raj Sabha has no power to reject or amend the money bill. So Raj Sabha has no power to reject or amend a money bill. Raj Sabha cannot vote on demand of grants. Raj Sabha cannot discuss annual financial statement. Article 112 of the Constitution says, Article 112, the President shall cause to be laid before both the Houses of Parliament annual financial statement. 1. Second, Rule 204 of Lok Sabha says that the Finance Minister shall lay before this House. So Rules 204 of Lok Sabha is saying this House, matlab Lok Sabha. So tomorrow UPSC will ask a question according to the Constitution of India. The Finance Minister presents the budget in Lok Sabha. It is not given in the Constitution. It is given in the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business Lok Sabha, Rule 204 of Lok Sabha, that the Finance Minister. So those, I'm not asking you to go through the rules of Lok Sabha, but budget, introduction of a bill, no confidence motion, isme to you have to go through the primary source. This is an easy question. We know that Raj Sabha has no power to either reject or amend the. Raj Sabha cannot vote on demands for grants. Only Lok Sabha vote. Raj Sabha cannot discuss the budget. Why not? Raj Sabha is also a legislature, so it can discuss a budget. Of course, it cannot vote on demands. So 1 and 2 is a clear thing. So we'll settle for B. 1 and 2 only, that Raj Sabha has no power to reject or amend a money bill, correct, cannot vote on demand of grants. Now please understand. One question is enough for 2 hours. This question is enough for 2 hours. Okay, so we do not have the liberty, then how we will discuss 5 years. Okay, but briefly I'll touch upon. Sabse pehle, you should know Article 109 and 110 of the Constitution related to money bill. 110 is the definition, 109 is the procedure. Next, no voting on demand shall take place in Raj Sabha. Voting on demand takes place only in Lok Sabha. So what is the thing that happens? First, we'll start with Article 265 and 266. Article 265 is one-line article. It says, no tax shall be levied or collected except through the authority of law. Yani, who will impose tax? Every tax proposal shall be approved by the, but no tax shall be levied or collected save by the authority of law. So, this whole concept of democracy has evolved through one thing, that is no taxation without representation. No taxation without, गौर से सुनिए, tax हमें कोई, nobody can tax us except we. If we are not living in British regime that they will announce 17% tax and you have to give. Constitution of India says no tax shall be levied or collected except by the authority of law. Finance minister will propose a tax. This year finance minister is part of the executive. As a minister, she will propose a tax. This year we want 15% tax. But that tax, finance act of the year should be approved by the parliament. So executive may propose a tax, but the tax is approved by the legislature. So if you see money bill, which really abolition of any tax or imposition or any withdrawal of money from CFI, appropriation, taking custody from any loan out of CFI or any charged expenditure, all such bills are money bills. So in this one, money bill, as you know, I'm just repeating, money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. It can be introduced on the prior recommendation of President. The Raj Sabha cannot amend it or reject it. It can suggest certain changes which may or may not be accepted by Lok Sabha. Raj Sabha can maximum delay it for 14 days. Every year in the budget, two bills are necessarily passed. One finance bill and appropriation bill. हर साल बजट में दो बिल पास होगी ही होगी. One is finance bill, other is appropriation bill. क्यों? Because Article 265 says no tax shall be levied save by the authority of law. So to impose a tax, you have to pass a bill. So every year tax structure would be in the Finance Act of that year. Article 266 says no money shall be withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India except through an appropriation made by law. So to withdraw money from National Exchequer, Consolidated Fund of India, you require a law. So Appropriation Act is passed. So every year in the budget, two laws will be passed. One Finance Act, another. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहता है बिना लॉ को पास किए टैक्स नहीं इंपोज होगा. नो टैक्स शैल बी लेवीड और कलेक्टेड एक्सेप्ट थ्रू द अथॉरिटी ऑफ लॉ. आर्टिकल 265. सो टैक्स लगाने के लिए और पैसा विड्रॉ करने के लिए यू रिक्वायर लॉ. सो एवरी ईयर इन द बजट दे पास टू लॉज. एप्रोप्रिएशन बिल टू withdraw money. Appropriation bill is the expenditure side of the budget and finance bill is the income side of the budget. So tax will be imposed by Finance Act and money will be withdrawn from Appropriation Act. Now voting on demand. Which money will go to which department? For example, 3,26,000 crore budget hai Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So Lok Sabha will also approve what money exactly will go to different ministries. So it is called voting on demand. Difference between demand and grant is कि when the minister proposes कि okay, I'm planning to give this amount, it is demand. When the Lok Sabha approves the same, it becomes a grant. जब तक उसको approve नहीं किया, it will be called as demand. The moment it is approved, it is called as grant. So in now what is the chronology of the budget? सबसे पहले finance minister will give her speech. After that, there will be general discussion on the budget. Okay, it is written in the rules कि the day Honorable Finance Minister will give speech, on that day no discussion will take place. उस दिन नहीं होगा. It is given in the rule. Then there will be general discussion on the budget. Then the department related standing committee will see that whether the demands are, they will give their recommendation. Then voting on demand will take place. Then once the Lok Sabha approves कि okay, 3 lakh crore will go to Ministry of Road Transport Highways, then you have to withdraw that money also. So for withdrawal, there is a law that is called as appropriation. So difference between voting on demand and appropriation leads to withdrawal, by voting on demand leads to that the Lok Sabha is approving the same. In all these matters, Raj Sabha has no say. Because if you'll give this matter to Raj Sabha, then government may not have majority in Raj Sabha and the opposition will block the finance of the government. So voting on demand ho ya passing of money bill hai, Raj Sabha can maximum delay it for 14 days. Getting my point? Although honestly speaking, this is not enough. I expect you to know because it itself is a 5-hour topic. But but I'm just trying to touch it to the best of my ability कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में certain powers is given to लोक सभा. अब अमेरिका में क्या है? अमेरिका में the president and his council of ministers, secretaries, they have nothing to do with Congress. In India, so the executive and legislature is not completely separated. Prime Minister is Narendra Damodar Das Modi ji, Honorable Prime Minister, is a member of Parliament from Varanasi, and he is also a Prime Minister. So he is part of legislature as well as executive. You have Nitin Jairam Gadkari ji. He is a member of Lok Sabha Nagpur, and he is also a member of executive. Amit Chand Shah ji, Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar, he is a member of Rajya Sabha and also minister. So अमेरिका में ऐसा नहीं है. हिलैरी रॉडम क्लिंटन और डोनाल्ड जूनियर जॉन ट्रंप और जोसेफ बाइडन और एनी प्रेस जॉर्ज वॉकर बुश, जॉर्ज डब्ल्यू बुश, एनीवन, दे वर नॉट मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. अमेरिका में अगर आप पार्लियामेंट के मेंबर हैं तो आप एग्जीक्यूटिव के मेंबर, सो यू हैव टू रिजाइन फ्रॉम द कांग्रेस, देन ओनली यू कैन बिकम मेंबर ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव. सो देयर इज अ सेपरेशन बिटवीन एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड legislature. In India, mein Prime Minister is a part of executive also and legislature also. So the executive is collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. So all these powers are not given to Raj Sabha. Ab America mein the executive will withdraw money. The bills are passed by the Congress. But in India, those powers are not given to Raj Sabha. So of course government has a majority in Lok Sabha. So voting on demand ho ya passing of appropriation or finance bill ho, there will be no problem. Easily the budget will be passed. Okay, so answer would be Raj Sabha has no power. This is a correct statement. Raj Sabha cannot vote on demand for grant. Correct. So we'll settle for B, that is 1 and 2 only. This is a wrong statement. Raj Sabha cannot vote, but at least it can discuss. Nobody can stop it from discussing. So it is. Now see, my purpose here is not to give you information, fact only, because that is already provided in so many places. My purpose is you should start thinking, read the constitution. Now this is something, this is a factual question. When a bill is referred to joint sitting of both the houses of parliament, article 108 of the constitution, सबसे पहले joint, अभी types of majorities में you go home and see what you, most of you, what you think as special majority, UPSC can assassinate. On a lighter vein, special majority is also of 5 type. You go and see the difference between article 169, 249, 312 and 368. Special majority is also of 5 type. Okay, वही बात है ना, we have so many. So if you see what is the there was a question on majority. I am not, that question has already been asked and you will answer. But it is more important for you to understand what they will ask tomorrow. Getting? So if you see article 169, you will find here majority of the total members of the house plus 2/3 members present and voting. Both the conditions should be met. But in article 249 and article 312, you will just find 2/3 members present and voting. So getting my, so special majority के भी कई सारे प्रकार. Go and read meticulously article 169, article 249, article 312, article 368. अब एक example, highest majority in Indian constitution, article 61, 2/3 of the total membership of the house. अभी तक आपने कहीं पूरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में you will not find 2/3 of the total membership of the house. You will find 2/3 of the members present and voting. समझे? For example, there are 100 students in the class enrolled. So 2/3 of 100 would be 66.66. 2/3 of present and voting would be 90 people have come. Unka 2/3, it will be 60. So for impeachment of president, they are not saying 2/3 of the members present and voting. They are saying 2/3 of the total member. Hardly matters who has come, who has not come. Whatever is the total strength of the house, 2/3 of that. You're getting my point, na? So special majority bhi kai, there are of various types. I'll take 1 hour honestly to explain that. I'm just giving you a hint. You read article 249, article 312, article 368, article 169, article 61. Okay, so article 249 is Raj Sabha creating a new, empowering the parliament to make a law on state list. Article 312 is creation of a new all India services. Article 368 is amendment of the Constitution. Article 61 is impeachment of the president. So अब जैसे Supreme Court says कि जहां कोई भी majority नहीं लिखी है, if no majority is mentioned, it means special majority, simple majority. जैसे Article 67 of the Constitution says that Vice President will be removed. Kahin Constitution mein ito, veto, keto, cheeto, all these things are not meant. This is just mentioned in your book. That is an interpretation of the Constitution. क्योंकि कोई टाइम नहीं दिया है कि President has to act within 10 days. So उसको scholars कहते हैं, okay, no time is given, it means pocket veto. मतलब President can keep the bill pending for indefinite. But if the UPSC asks you a question, the Constitution of India explicitly provides for, then I'll take you to one article. For example, Article 67. Article 67 says the Vice President will be removed by a majority of then members of Rajya Sabha and agreed to by Lok Sabha. As Constitution क्या कहता है? Shall be removed by a majority of then members of Rajya Sabha and agreed to by Lok Sabha. By a majority of then members of Rajya Sabha means effective majority. मतलब total strength minus vacancies. So total strength is 100, 10 seats are vacant due to death, disqualification, resignation or election setting aside. 90 is the effective strength. Irrespective of what number of people have come, effective strength is 90, uska 2/3. Then says by a majority of then members of the House. Then members of the House is interpreted as effective majority, which is a unique majority, and agreed to by Lok Sabha. Only it says agreed to by Lok Sabha. Agreed to by Lok Sabha means simple majority. So what is simple majority? For example, 100 is the total strength of the class. Only 30 people have come. Simple majority will be 16. What is effective majority? 100 is the total strength of the House and 10 seats are vacant due to death or any reason. So 90 is the effective strength of the House. Effective strength majority is 46. Even if 60 people have come on that day, it doesn't matter. You have to get 46. That is effective majority. फिर कहता है agreed to by Lok Sabha. Agreed to by Lok Sabha means simple majority. So when I talk about majority, you will be seeing, I am making it more clear. You see the Article 61, impeachment of president. Then you have what you call Article 249, Raj Sabha passing a resolution for a parliament to make a law on state list. Article 312, All India Services. Article 368, amendment of the Constitution. Article 67, removal of vice president. So har jagah, every place you will find different majority. So ye ab yahi question if UPSC will frame, most of them, I'll give you one example. For example, which of the following committees were constituted by Government of India to deal with fundamental duties? Kaun si committee? Swaran Singh committee. All of you will read this. Now UPSC will ask a question, which of the following committees were constituted by Government of India related to fundamental duties? As that gentleman said, Swaran Singh committee, which is written, it is a wrong answer. Swaran Singh committee was constituted by Congress party. Verma committee was constituted by Government of India. समझे ना? You have answered what you think you have correct, but in the examination hall you will see which of the following committees were constituted by Government of India. Without looking into much, you will see, we know that fundamental duties is Soren, but that committee was not a government committee. It was merely constituted by the Congress party. 1999 में Verma committee was constituted to look into the implementation of fundamental duties. Now UPSC will trap you. इसी यही अंतर है. This is the difference between a serious, मतलब you are going in the right direction, but while reading you have to be very, very diligent. Abhi I can give you 10 more examples where what you think is not the answer or what I think is not the answer. Answer is something which is different and UPSC will be able to successfully trap you. So अब majorities में भी कहीं है only 2/3 members प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग. जैसे आर्टिकल 249 और 312 में सिर्फ है 2/3 मेंबर्स प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग, पर आर्टिकल 368 में एंड 169 में यू विल फाइंड मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टोटल मेंबरशिप ऑफ द हाउस एज वेल एज 2/3 मेंबर्स प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग. दोनों कंडीशन शुड बी फुलफिल्ड. So while reading the, you're getting my point now. What is given in the constitution, if you read from the primary source, then only it is gone. Of course, it will what you call be important for you. So you read it says first point कि भाई no constitution can be amended, no amendment of the constitution can be taken to joint sitting. Joint sitting cannot be done for the amendment of the constitution. Joint sitting can be done for ordinary laws only. So there can joint sitting, you don't require special majority, you require bhai special majority is required for amending the constitution, and for amending the constitution you cannot go for joint sitting. So joint sitting you go for ordinary laws, and ordinary laws don't require Special majority. So they are asking a question, when a bill is referred to a joint sitting of both the houses of parliament, it has to be passed by, you have to answer. I will not answer. It has to be passed by, what should be the answer? यही बात है ना, इतने now many of you are already reading. I am not, see, I am here to help you out. The point is ki just think that what you have been consistently reading is not enough, and that is why then when people don't score well in prelims, especially, which is very tricky, so that is why we have this thing also. So what should be the answer? And should be simple, majority of present and voting. 3/4 majority नाम का कोई concept नहीं. Only one place 3/4 is there in the constitution. बताइए, only one place in from article 1 to 395. Article 279A, every decision of GST council shall be taken by 3/4 majority. Otherwise, in the original constitution, there is no concept of 3/4. GST council के लिए you require 3/4. Okay, otherwise, 2/3 majority of the houses. 2/3 majority, this statement itself is confusing. It must write Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. And absolute majority itself alone is not. Absolute majority is always attached to another majority. So it is part of special majority. So answer would be simple, majority present and voting. अब मैंने आपको articles बता दिए. You have to go through Article 69, 169, Article 61, Article 312, Article 249, Article 368, Article 367. In these, when you will see majority, you will be surprised. कि majority is also of, when I say special majority, you can be easily butchered. By just mentioning special majority, answer is no, because all 4 options, they will give special majority. Special majority may be absolute majority and 2/3 members present and voting, 2/3 members present and voting, and then to impeach the president, 2/3 of not present and voting, 2/3 of the, for example, 90 people have come. What is 2/3 of 90? 60. But they say 2/3 of present and voting, nahi, 2/3 of total members. So if 100 is the strength of the house, irrespective of who has come, 2/3 of total member will be 66.66. So in Article 61, you will find a different measure, which is the highest majority in Indian Constitution. That 2/3 of members present and voting, nahi, 2/3 of the total membership of the house. अब जो आए हैं, people who have come, not come, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं है. So whenever you do something, you have to do it. You don't need to go too deep, but whatever you know, there should be absolute clarity. Okay, so the answer would be A.
Completing the syllabus without proper knowledge of current affairs will not take you far in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Regulate and transform your preparation with complete coverage of news of relevance. Get a concrete hold of current affairs for UPSC CSE with Vision IS Monthly Current Affairs Revision Program starting from 20th September at 5 p.m. The program is your guide to get comprehensive news on one platform sourced through relevant resources such as The Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB, Yojana and others. Enroll for complete coverage of current affairs including Indian polity and constitution, economy, international relations and more. Comprehensive assessment of preparation through MCQs and mains-oriented questions. Expert support through personalized mentoring and online doubt resolution.
If you have any question also, you can ask, no problem. Now, this question was asked even in 90s. That मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस में 6 डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं. जब आप फिनमिन की वेबसाइट देखिएगा, यू विल सी 6 डिपार्ट. आज ही न्यूज़पेपर में आई वाज रीडिंग कि 2 डिपार्टमेंट्स आर बीइंग मर्ज्ड एंड आई गॉट इट विच 2 डिपार्टमेंट्स विल बी मर्ज्ड. सो इन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस में 6 डिपार्टमेंट है. डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पब्लिक एसेट मैनेजमेंट, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स एंड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पब्लिक इंटरप्राइजेस. फिर से कह रहा हूं, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस में 6 डिपार्टमेंट है. एक फॉर रेवेन्यू, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू, दूसरा फॉर एक्सपेंडिचर, दूसरा बैंक्स को देखने के लिए डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, तीसरा जितनी पीएसयूज हैं उसके लिए डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पब्लिक एंटरप्राइजेस, चौथा डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पब्लिक एसेट मैनेजमेंट. प्रीवियसली इट वाज कॉल्ड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट, नाउ इट इज कॉल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पब्लिक एसेट मैनेजमेंट. Investment and public asset management deals with PSUs, so I read today or yesterday that they are thinking it to merge it with department of public enterprises, क्योंकि दोनों by and large same ही है. And then you have Department of Economic Affairs which prepares the budget. Okay, so you see Ministry of Finance. So if we'll open the Ministry of Finance, we have Department of Expenditure, Department of Revenue, Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, Department of Economic Affairs, Financial Service. Banks come under this department, PSUs come under this department. This is for expenditure and revenue, and this is for disinvestment, which is now called as investment and public. There is a demand to merge these because this is also related with PSU and this is also related with PSU, तो इसको merge करने की आज was reading today or yesterday. Okay, so these are being merged. So what was the question? Let's see. UPSC, this question actually has been asked in 90s also, as far as I can remember. The Department of Revenue is responsible for preparation of the union budget. True or false? False, because Department of Economic Affairs. No amount can be withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India without the permission of Parliament. Yes, Article 266 of the Constitution. Abhi, if you know the fact, I am least interested. You know the fact, you memorize the fact. भाई जरूरी थोड़ी है कि वही क्वेश्चन आएगा. It is not necessary that they will ask the same. You must understand the psyche behind it. If you understand the reason behind it, then you will be comfortably sailing through. For example, पहले के previously kings used to decide the tax rate. Okay, this year we will impose 14%. Now people started protesting that line, which all of you must have heard: no taxation without representation. Yani we will not give tax until we are given representation. So Article 265 of the Constitution: no tax shall be levied or collected except through the authority of law. So minister का सिर्फ काम है propose करना कि ठीक है इस साल 15% tax I want. It has to be approved by the Parliament, and Parliament passes the Finance Act every year to approve the tax proposals. Executive tax लगा नहीं सकता है. Executive सिर्फ tax को propose कर सकता है. Approve करेगा legislature. So who is imposing tax on me? I am imposing tax on me. I am choosing the representatives. They are passing laws and imposing tax on me, not the Council of Ministers. One more line which is often discussed, that ये हमेशा रटा दिया जाता है, इसको समझा नहीं जाता. Parliament cannot, you will open any book, you will find this line. Parliament cannot increase a tax, or Parliament cannot increase a tax, it can reduce or abolish it. कहा जाता है Parliament cannot increase a tax, you must have read this line. Parliament cannot increase a tax, it can reduce or abolish. इसका मतलब Parliament tax नहीं बढ़ा सकती है. It means that, for example, executive, Parliament is legislature. Executive is saying that 5% tax I will take. Parliament cannot increase a tax. So whatever tax percentage has been introduced by executive, Parliament cannot bring an amendment to increase it further. It can either reduce a tax or अब इट मींस दैट जो टैक्स एग्जीक्यूटिव मिनिस्टर ने प्रपोज किया उसको पार्लियामेंट अप्रूव करते वक्त कम कर सकती है, अबॉलिश कर सकती है, पर उससे ज्यादा बढ़ा नहीं सकती है. इफ द एग्जीक्यूटिव फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर सेज ओके आई विल रन द कंट्री विद 15% टैक्स, देन द लेजिस्लेचर कैन नॉट से नो नो डोंट टेक 15%, टेक 20% फ्रॉम देम. सो देयर कैन बी नो अमेंडमेंट इन द पार्लियामेंट ओवर द बिल विच सीक्स टू increase a tax. There can be an amendment to reduce, or so Parliament cannot increase a tax, it can either reduce or abolish a tax. So this I have to read with 265, that no tax shall be levied or collected save by the authority of law. You have to understand the concept. Now it says no amount of money shall be withdrawn from CFI without the authorization of Parliament. This is a correct statement. All the disbursement from public account needs authorization of Parliament. No, this is wrong. So 2 is the answer. क्यों भाई? What is public account? 3 तरह का account होता है. Many of you know. First account is Consolidated Fund of India. All the loans raised, all the receipt, all such goes to Consolidated Fund of. Public account अभी तो नहीं, अभी जैसे कि Provident Fund, remittances, all these Kisan Vikas Patra, Post Office savings, all go to public account of India. For example, today you have Phone Pay. Just 15 years back, there was money order. So if a worker working in Bombay or Mumbai, he sends 5,000 rupees to his parents in Gorakhpur. So money order used to take 3 to 4 days. So it will take 3 to 4 days. During that period, if the money will be put under Consolidated Fund of India, then you need the permission of Parliament to withdraw it. So all such money, where technically the government is just a custodian, it doesn't belong to the government, although there are some exceptions are there. So those money go to the public account of India. You don't require the permission of anybody to withdraw money from public account of India, क्योंकि that money doesn't belong to the government. So technically it says all the disbursement, पैसा जो disburse कर रहे हैं from public account also need the authorization of Parliament. No, only you need Consolidated Fund से अगर आपको पैसा निकालना है, then you will go for then you're passing a law. For public account, you don't require a law, and there is an emergency fund, contingency fund, which is operated through Contingency Fund of India Act 1950. 30,000 crore is the corpus. The finance secretary operates it on the behalf of president just by an executive action. Okay, so parliament has made a law and given this power to the finance secretary to withdraw on the behalf of president. Jo COVID se pehle it was 500 crore, now they have increased. So that is an emergency fund. They have increased it to 30,000 crore. For that you don't require the, although parliament has empowered already, so it can be operated by executive action. So यहाँ कह रहा है कि withdrawal of money from public account also needs the permission of parliament. Answer is wrong. If they would have given consolidated fund, then the statement would have been correct. So this statement is wrong. This statement is wrong. This is correct. So we'll settle for question number 3C for Calcutta. That is 2 only. Now this is again an easy question. What happens to a bill? What happens to a bill pending? Now listen. Here also there is some confusion. Suniye. Lok Sabha under Article 85 of the Constitution is dissolved, but Raj Sabha is never dissolved. Raj Sabha कभी dissolve नहीं होती है. Raj Sabha एक permanent body है. People come become member of Raj Sabha after 6 years they retire, but Raj Sabha never gets dissolved. Lok Sabha dissolve. अभी 18th Lok Sabha है. इससे पहले there were 17th Lok Sabha. उससे पहले there was 16th Lok Sabha from 4th June 2014 to 3rd June 2019. Then you have 14th Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha 14, 15, 16, 17. After 5 years they are dissolved automatically before the 5 years from its, the language of the Constitution is 5 years from its first meeting. Sometimes in the history of India, Lok Sabha has been dissolved before its tenure. Nobody is having majority, so they have to dissolve. So they conducted Lok Sabha election in 1977. Then they conducted in 79 December and 80 January. So they conducted within 2.5 years. Matlab Lok Sabha was dissolved before its tenure. They conducted Lok Sabha election in 1989, then conducted in 91. They conducted in 1996 and then conducted in 98. They conducted in 98, then conducted in 99. So there have been few instances where the Lok Sabha has been dissolved before its tenure of 5 years because the government, nobody was having majority, so they have to call for fresh elections. Otherwise, Lok Sabha automatically is dissolved, will complete its tenure 5 years from its first meeting. So when it met for the first time, for example, 4th June 2014, so 4th June 2014 to 3rd June 2019 will be the tenure of 16th Lok Sabha. If Lok Sabha is dissolved, what will happen to a bill? Now, what will happen to a bill? A bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. Now, it is not saying dissolution, it is saying prorogation. मतलब एक session का खत्म होना, ending of a session. So, अभी monsoon session ended, December में we'll have winter session, then it will end, then we'll have budget session. So prorogation has no effect on the bills. Only notices that you have given, that will lapse, but the bills will not lapse. One bill of one session can be taken by other session. UK mein, if the session ends, then the bill also lapses. So a bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its अगर यहां लिखा रहता है प्रोरोगेशन की बजाय lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha, then the statement would have been a correct statement. सेशंस के खत्म होने से बिल पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. अगर लोकसभा खत्म हो गई, नई लोकसभा बनी, तब पुराने बिल जो पेंडिंग था वो लैप्स कर जाएगा. So I'm speaking in English. If there is a termination, prorogation of a session, it will have no effect on the bills. But if the very Lok Sabha is dissolved and a new Lok Sabha comes to life, then all the bills pending in Lok Sabha will lapse. So it says a bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. तो ये statement एक गलत statement है क्योंकि dissolution नहीं हो रहा है. यहाँ they have mentioned prorogation, so it is wrong. A bill pending in Raj Sabha which has not been passed by Lok Sabha shall not lapse on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. Absolutely correct. Any bill that is pending in Raj Sabha and which has not been passed by Lok Sabha, yani a bill that is introduced and pending in Raj Sabha will not lapse on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. Now let's take this further. I'll give you example. We are running short of time. I'll directly give you facts here. One, a bill that is introduced and pending in Lok Sabha will lapse. A bill that is introduced in Lok Sabha and pending in Lok Sabha will lapse. A bill that is introduced and pending in Raj Sabha will not lapse. A bill that is introduced and passed by Lok Sabha and pending in Raj Sabha. A bill that is introduced and passed by Lok Sabha but pending in Raj Sabha, what will happen to the bill? It will also lapse. A bill which is introduced and passed by Lok Sabha but pending in Raj Sabha will also lapse because that Lok Sabha which passed it is no more. A bill that is introduced and passed by Raj Sabha pending in Lok Sabha will also lapse. Only two kinds of bills will not lapse. One which is introduced and pending in Rajya Sabha, and second, a bill which has been passed by both the houses and pending with the president for approval, or joint sitting has already been called before the dissolution of Lok Sabha. This will not lapse. Otherwise, all the bills will lapse. Getting my point? So a bill that is introduced and pending in Lok Sabha will lapse. Introduced and pending in Raj Sabha will not lapse. Introduced and passed by Lok Sabha pending in Raj Sabha will not lapse. Introduced and passed by Lok Sabha pending in Raj Sabha will not lapse. Introduced and passed by Raj Sabha pending in Lok Sabha will lapse. Only a bill for which a joint sitting has already been called or the bill is pending with the president will not lapse. अब यहाँ कहता है कि a bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. नहीं. अगर लिखा होता bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its dissolution, then the statement would be correct. Prorogation to bhai one session khatam hua, next session will happen after 3-4 months. So prorogation does not mean dissolution. Dissolution मतलब खत्म हो गई, नई लोकसभा आएगी. प्रोरोगेशन मतलब 17th लोकसभा में बीच बीच में सेशंस होंगे, मॉनसून सेशन, विंटर सेशन, बजट सेशन. सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग, दिस स्टेटमेंट इज right. So we will settle for B2 only in question number 4. Now this is a easy question. Now in India, generally there are various types of government, but two major types: presidential type and parliamentary form of government. US में the president never goes to parliament because he is not a member of parliament. So कोई हिलैरी रॉडम क्लिंटन हो, जॉर्ज वॉकर बुश हो, जोसेफ बाइडन हो, डोनाल्ड जॉन ट्रंप हो, कोई भी हो, they are not members of parliament, so they will function independently. They will not go and answer. In India, all the ministers are members of parliament. There is one small relaxation. Okay, you can become minister. If you are not a member of parliament, then you can become within 6 months. Okay. Otherwise, all the members of parliament all the ministers are also members of parliament. So जब भी नया parliament का session शुरू होगा, the ministers have to stand there and they will answer to the questions posed by the member of parliament. So legislature is controlling the executive. Legislature जो है, for example, he comes from a place, he is a member of parliament. In his place, Kendriya Vidyalaya building is damaged. So he will ask this question from Minister for Education. So members of parliament question पूछते हैं ministers से. इससे क्या होता है? Legislature ensures grip on executive. The ministers are controlled, held accountable by the legislature, or executive's responsibility towards legislature established. So हर दिन जब parliament की सभा शुरू होती है, first hour of every day, first hour of every day is related to the question hour, where members of parliament ask question from the ministers. Okay, and minister related to their respective ministry. इस तरीके से legislature keeps a control on the executive. अगर किसी, you must have seen there is pandemonium, milli, or some protest or demonstration inside the parliament. So what happened here? The government is being cornered inside the parliament. So legislature is effectively controlling the executive by asking these questions. So ये पूछा है, the parliament exercises control over the functions of council of minister. How the parliament controls the council of ministers? By adjournment motion, yes. By question hour, guys, and it may also ask a supplementary question. So answer would be D, 1, 2, and 3. What is adjournment motion? If on certain important matters, you can give a notice to the speaker, minimum 2.5 hour discussion will happen, urgent matter, then everything else will be changed and now they will only discuss that matter. So that is adjournment motion. So in a way, government can be embarrassed or cornered by the adjournment motion. So government's mistakes should be highlighted by an adjournment motion. Getting my point? And question hour hota hai har din. There are supplementary questions, means if somebody is answering, you can ask one more question. So all these ways you control, the legislature controls the executive. So answer should be D, 1, 2, and 3. Now this, who is a private member? Always remember, any member who is not a minister is a private member. जैसे 543 members are there in Lok Sabha. For example, 30 of them are ministers. Leaving these 30, all others would be private member, चाहे वो ruling party के हों या opposition. Usually when you see the proceedings of parliament, you will see that what you call the members of BJP are asking question from their own ministers, because any private member can ask a question from a minister irrespective of the political. If the same person will become minister, then he will answer the questions. So private members are those who are not ministers, or जो ministers हैं, they are government members, part of the government. So a private member's bill is a bill presented by a member of parliament who is not elected but only nominated by the president of India. So a private member's bill is presented by a member of parliament who is not elected but only nominated by the president of India. Is it true statement or false? Did I ever say that private members are nominated? All those members who are not ministers are, जो मंत्री नहीं है वो एक प्राइवेट मेंबर है. जरूरी तो नहीं है कि वो नॉमिनेटेड ही हो, वो इलेक्टेड भी हो सकता है. इट सेज a private member bill is a bill presented by a member of parliament who is not elected but only nominated. It is nominated members are private members, but not necessarily that only nominated members are private member. All the elected members are also private members if they are not part of the council of ministers. So ये statement एक, this is a correct statement or false statement? कह रहा है कि प्राइवेट मेंबर वो हैं जो नॉमिनेटेड हैं, ऐसा थोड़ी है. प्राइवेट मेंबर हर वो हैं जो इलेक्टेड, जो मिनिस्टर नहीं है. ऑल दोज हु आर नॉट मिनिस्टर, जैसे गौतम गंभीर जी, ही वाज अ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट ऑफ बीजेपी बट ही वाज नॉट अ minister. So many people are there from Delhi, they were members of parliament but they were not minister. So if you are a member of parliament but not minister, you will be private member. You can be elected or nominated any, but that doesn't mean that you are a government member. That means that you are not a government member. So this is a wrong statement. Recently a private member bill has been passed for the first time in the history. This was a tricky question. No private member bill has been passed recently. Since 1952, 13th May, when parliament came for the first time, May 1952, up tak 14 private members bill has been passed. So this is a wrong statement. It says no, first time private members bill was passed. So I'm saying that private members bill has also been passed in the past, and recently no such bill was passed. So both the statements are wrong and we will settle for D, neither 1 nor 2. Okay. So I'm speaking comfortably. If there are 543 members in Lok Sabha, अगर 543 मेंबर हैं लोकसभा में, only few members are ministers. बाकी, for example, BJP has 240 MPs, maybe 30-35 MPs are ministers, rest are not ministers. So they are from ruling party, still they are private members. So not necessarily that private member is a nominated member. Private member can also be an elected member. So statement wrong hai. Okay. Now we have in the first, now this is again a tricky question. In the first Lok Sabha, the single largest party was Swatantra Party. In first Lok Sabha, Congress won overwhelmingly and left parties were having 16-18. That was the biggest party in opposition. So this is statement is single largest party in opposition was not Swatantra Party, but it was left parties. So ये wrong statement है. Lok Sabha leader of opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. If you eliminate this, सबसे पहले तो first line is a wrong line. So we will eliminate 1. Now you are read with 2 and 3. So it means that 2 is correct. So we don't even need to, now we only need to see whether 3 is correct. In party does not have minimum 75 members. No, not 75. It is 1/10 of the, that is the quorum. So it is 54.3. So it is 55. ठीक है. So party need to have 55 members to be recognized as leader of opposition, but not necessarily. जैसे in 2015, Aam Aadmi Party won 67 MLAs in Delhi and 3 were won by BJP. So technically 10% is 7, but they got only 3. Still, Ram Nivas Goyal ji, the Speaker of Delhi Legislative Assembly, made Vijender Gupta ji leader of opposition. If you have 1/10, then you will definitely get the post of leader of opposition. If you don't have 1/10, then it is the discretion of the Speaker. It may give or may not give. So they were having only 3 MLAs. Still the leader of opposition. क्योंकि कई बार government feels that ठीक है, they are not having numbers, but at least they should be accommodated because opposition is an important or critical voice in democracy. लेकिन if you want the recognition, you want at least 10% of the at least 10% of the house. So 543, 16th or 17th Lok Sabha में 2014 to 19 and 19 to 24 there was no leader of opposition. कोई leader of opposition नहीं था. There was no क्यों? क्योंकि first time Congress got 44, second time it got 52. Both the time they could not get 55, which was this time they got 99, so they got the post of leader of opposition. Post of leader of opposition is not mentioned in the constitution. It is leader of opposition salaries and allowances act 1977. So leader of opposition is a statutory post, is a कोई भी ऐसी पोस्ट जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन है उसको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बोलेंगे, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में नहीं है लॉ में है उसको स्टैट्यूटरी बोलेंगे, जो लॉ में भी नहीं है वो एग्जीक्यूटिव. जैसे नेशनल कमीशन फॉर शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट, शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब, बैकवर्ड क्लासेस, स्पेशल ऑफिसर फॉर लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटीज, पार्लियामेंट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया, इलेक्शन कमीशन, आर्टिकल 324, ऑल दीज आर मेंशन्ड इन द constitute, so they are constitutional bodies. जैसे Protection of Human Rights Act, National Human Rights Commission, Central Vigilance Commission Act, Central Vigilance Commission, Lokpal and Lok Ayukt Act, Lokpal, Securities Exchange Board of India Act, SEBI, Reserve Bank of India Act, Reserve Bank. All these are statutory bodies because they are not mentioned in the constitution, they are mentioned in the law. Some bodies like Niti Aayog came into being on 1st January 2015. It is neither in the law nor in the constitution. So it is called extra constitutional non-statutory executive body. कुछ ऐसी bodies जो ना तो constitution में ना ordinary law में है तो उनको हम executive body कहते हैं जैसे नीति आयोग. So it says now coming here कि लोक सभा single largest party was स्वतंत्र party which is wrong. So now we have two options. 3 is also wrong. So we will settle for B2 ओनली. समझ गए ना? नाउ लेट्स सी, दिस इज एक चीज और यूपीएससी का ट्रिक बताते हैं. वेन एवर यूपीएससी विल गिव अ वेरी बिग स्टेटमेंट यू विल ऑलवेज सी कि इट इज अ वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन. दिस इज अ ट्रिक ऑफ यूपीएससी टू, इफ यू सी अ वेरी लॉन्ग पैराग्राफ एंड अ वॉल्यूमिनस पैराग्राफ, I cannot say 100%, nobody on earth can say 100%, but most likely it is a very easy question. Only they are trying to trouble you or give you some stress in the examination hall. If they are using flawless language, if you will read the question, you will easily get an answer by just reading the question. I can say so many questions where you don't even require a book. They have given such long paragraph. When you will read it, you will see this is an easy question. Usually when the student sees that question, feels that कि ये तो छोड़ो, इसमें time waste, we not move to the next question. But this, I'll give you a reason. They asked the question, easiest question on earth. What is the definition of state? And they gave four options which we will see, which were too voluminous but brutally easy. But student thought that they are so confusing, let's not waste time and move to the next question. But it was an easy question. They asked the question, if you enter the house, you switch on the TV, the AC automatically gets on and there is all these things. What do you mean by this? It is Internet of Things. So they give a long paragraph just to create confusion. Ab isme this question says, with reference to the Parliament of India, which of the following parliamentary committee scrutinizes the reports to the House whether powers to make regulations, sub-rules conferred by the Constitution or delegated are being properly exercised? Ab now delegated. So you hota kya hai? Now listen. You know about the concept of subordinate legislation. एक concept है जो easy है. Some of you may not know. That is subordinate legislation, or for that matter, you have this subordinate legislature. अब गौर से सुनिए. Everything cannot be written in the Constitution. जैसे अभी आपको 5 examples. Article 17 says abolition of untouchability is abolished and practice in any form is forbidden and it is punishable by law. So Article 17 does not say that what is the punishment, what is the quantum of punishment. Article 17 doesn't say that what you will do so it will be deemed as untouchability. How the procedure will happen. जैसे anticipatory bail will not apply, garlanding SC/ST with footwear was added, threatening or imposing social boycott, all such provisions were added, rights of victims and witnesses, duty of a public servant, what will be the quantum of punishment. All this is given in a law, that is SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, and specifically for untouchability there is Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955. तो किसी भी आर्टिकल, कोई आर्टिकल, देर आर सम आर्टिकल्स विच आर इंप्लीमेंटेड बाय देमसेल्फ, बट सम आर्टिकल्स रिक्वायर अ law because everything cannot be written in the otherwise constitution will become 400 pages. Getting मतलब more. So for example, Article 42 says maternity relief. Women, if they are pregnant, they will be given maternity relief. Kitne week ka? That is given in Maternity Benefit Act 1960, 126 weeks. For example, Article 21A says that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children in the age group 6 to 14 years in the manner state may determine by law. So what will be the teacher pupil ratio? What will be the school management committee, capitation fees, physical punishment, function of school management committee? What do you mean by free? What do you mean by compulsory? All these things are given in Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. सो कई आर्टिकल 23 कहता है कि इमोरल ट्रैफिकिंग बैन है, बॉन्डेड लेबर बैन है. सो यू हैव इमोरल ट्रैफिकिंग प्रिवेंशन एक्ट 1956 एंड बॉन्डेड लेबर सिस्टम अबॉलिशन एक्ट. आर्टिकल 24 कहता है नो चाइल्ड बिलो द एज ऑफ 14 years शैल बी अलाउड टू वर्क इन अ फैक्ट्री, माइन और हजार्डस एम्प्लॉयमेंट. सो यू हैव पास चाइल्ड एंड अडोलेसेंट लेबर प्रोहिबिशन एंड रेगुलेशन एक्ट. सो बहुत सारे ऐसे आर्टिकल हैं, उनको इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए आपको एक दूसरा लॉ बनाना. Those articles where you require a law to implement them, that is called as, they are not self-executionary articles. Now coming to the point. आपने law बना दिया, you made a law. Everything cannot be written in the law. Because if you will write everything in the law, to change the comma, again you have to introduce a amendment to the bill. So usually what happens, Parliament makes a law. जैसे Citizenship Act 1955, Citizenship Rules 2003. Kerala Temple Authorization of Entry into Hindu Places of Worship Act. Kerala Temple Authorization of Entry into Hindu Places of Worship Rules. You have Information Technology Act, Information Technology Rules. So you have rules that are made by the ministry. So जैसे कोई कंकाल है, there is a skeleton. They will give you the body and ask, the legislature will make the law and give the body and ask the executive to fill flesh in it. So executive will make rules to implement the law. These rules are called delegated legislation. कई अब जैसे Supreme Court, there is a Rule 3B. Rule 3B of Kerala Temple Authorization of Entry into Hindu Places of Worship Rules. Rule says women in the age group 10 to 50 cannot enter the Sabrimala Temple complex. अब Supreme Court ने कहा कि these rules are violating the Parent Act. Parent Act says Kerala Temple Authorization of Entry into Hindu Places of Worship, while rules are prohibiting women. So कई बार rule becomes too powerful than the original law. Parliament ने law बनाया और Parliament ने थोड़ा power दे दिया ministry को, little power to the ministry. अच्छा ठीक है, you make rules to make the law more operative. Rather than making rules, they made such vast rules that it is more powerful than the Parent Act. So if the rules are more powerful than the law that empowered them, then this will be violation of separation of powers. It is not the job of executive to make laws, it is the job of legislature. So parliament की एक कमिटी होती है, I'll speak in Hindi देने नहीं, वो ये देखती है कि जो हमने इनको रूल बनाने दिया था, इन्होंने ज्यादा तो पावर नहीं यूज कर लिया, रूल लॉ से भी तो ज्यादा पावर रूल नहीं हो गया. So there is a committee that looks into the fact whether the rules are not following the Parent Act. Rules must be according to the Parent Act. Rules must not be too powerful than the Parent Act, else the rules will be declared as unconstitutional. Because the rules, the power to make rules is given by the legislature to the executive ministry. Why? Because everything cannot be written in the law. There will be regional situations where they can make rules and adopt changing technology. How to implement the law local level pe, there have to be multiple changes. So to accommodate diversity, multiple implementation, they will allow the ministry to make rules which is part of the executive. Ministry is not part of the legislature, it is part. So parliament लॉ बना देगी और मिनिस्ट्री को बोलेगी कि आप अपने से रूल बना लीजिए. पार्लियामेंट विल मेक द लॉ एंड आस्क द मिनिस्ट्री टू मेक रूल्स. समटाइम्स रूल्स बिकम पावरफुल देन द मेन law. Then the parliament controls that whether you are misusing the power to make rules, then you are violating the principle of separation of powers, because it is the job of legislature to make laws, not the executive. Getting my point? सो यहां कह रहा है कौन सी पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटी है जो ये चेक करती है कि वेदर द पावर टू मेक रेगुलेशंस और डेलीगेटेड आर बीइंग प्रॉपरली एक्सरसाइज, इवन बाय रीडिंग कमिटी ऑन सबऑर्डिनेट लेजिस्लेशन. क्योंकि एक तरीके से लॉ मेकिंग पावर पार्लियामेंट ने कुछ एग्जीक्यूटिव को दे दिया दैट यू मेक रूल्स. सो दिस कमिटी ऑन सबऑर्डिनेट लेजिस्लेशन ये चेक करेगी कि जितना हमने पावर दिया था, वॉट एवर पावर वी हैव गिवन, वेदर दे हैव एक्सपैंडेड द मैंडेट ऑफ द पावर और दे आर फंक्शनिंग विद इन द मैंडेट ऑफ द लॉ. सो देयर इज अ कमिटी दैट सीज वेदर द एग्जीक्यूटिव इज मेकिंग रूल्स इन अ ट्रू वे और रूल्स आर बिकम पावरफुल देन द लॉ इटसेल्फ. सो दोज रूल्स विल बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट। क्वेश्चन ये पूछ रहा है, वो आई स्पीक इन हिंदी देन इन इंग्लिश, कौन सी ऐसी पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी है जो ये चेक करती है कि जो पावर्स उनने डेलीगेट किए थे वो पावर वो सही से यूज कर रहे हैं कि नहीं? Which parliamentary committee checks that all powers which the legislature has given to the executive, whether they are implementing it in a true manner or not? So there is a special committee on subordinate legislation. Answer would be B. Now, related to money bill, it can be introduced only in Lok Sabha on the prior recommendation of President, and Article 110 has given definition. Now, you see here, a bill shall be deemed to be a money bill if it contains the provisions related to imposition, abolition of tax. This is exactly taken from Article 110 of the Constitution. Yahan puch raha, which of the following statement is not correct? A money bill has provisions for custody of consolidated fund of India. A money bill is concerned with appropriation of money out of contingency fund of India. A money bill deals with regulation of borrowing. मैंने पहले भी कहा है, contingency fund is an emergency fund. Parliament has already passed the law Contingency Fund of India Act. Finance Secretary कभी भी emergency में पैसा निकाल सकते हैं. Up to 30,000 crore rupees is the corpus for the emergency. So you don't require the permission of the Parliament. So this statement C, this should not be contingency fund, this should be consolidated fund. So which is not correct? So question number 9, C for Calcutta is not correct. You have to read Article 108 and 109 and 110. You will have absolute clarity. So we will settle for option C for Calcutta in question number 9. Now it says this is again a tricky question. Two questions they have asked which are tricky. होता क्या है कि द पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटीज एक्सरसाइज अ चेक. देखिए, इन आवर कंट्री वी हैव पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी. इन अमेरिका whoever gets elected as president, he never goes to the parliament. So उनको पार्लियामेंट को जवाब देने की, he doesn't need to answer. In a parliamentary democracy, the Council of Ministers are responsible to the House of People. So, कैसे हाउस कंट्रोल करता है मिनिस्ट्रीज को? देर आर डिफरेंट कमिटीज दैट मेक रिकमेंडेशंस रिलेटेड टू डिमांड्स एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग, जैसे टाइम टू टाइम, जैसे दिसंबर 2022 के करंट अफेयर्स में यू विल फाइंड डिपार्टमेंट रिलेटेड स्टैंडिंग कमिटी ऑन पर्सनल लॉ एंड जस्टिस एंड ऑल, दे गेव अ रिकमेंडेशन ऑन सीबीआई. सो टाइम एंड अगेन आप देखेंगे कि जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटीज है वो सरकार को कुछ ना कुछ सलाह देती है और सरकार को कंट्रोल कर, मतलब इन कंट्रोल. टाइम एंड अगेन दीज पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटीज गिव सजेशंस टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड ऑल्सो एक्सरसाइजेज अ चेक ऑन द government whether government is misusing power or not. So in this way legislature is putting a check on the executive. अब पूछ रहा है, which of the following review sectors, communication, insurance, electricity sectors को कौन सी कमिटी रिव्यू करती है? Here you say नीति आयोग has nothing to do with regulation. तो पहले ही we will eliminate 5, तो eliminate हो गया. अब you have only 2 option. Finance Commission has nothing to do with regulation. Finance Commission, Article 280 of the Constitution, the distribution of net proceeds of taxes between center and state and distribution among the states, vertical and horizontal devolution. Finance Minister का काम तो center से राज्यों को पैसा देने की सिफारिश करना है. The Finance Commission will recommend what money will go to the state. It has nothing to do with regulation of electricity. So you will eliminate third is eliminated and 5 is eliminated. So how many options we have? 1 and 2. Getting my point? समझ रहे हैं ना? So we will eliminate 3rd and 5, we'll get 1 and 2. This is ad hoc committee set up by parliament related department standing. You know about department related standing committee? गौर से सुनिए. अलग अलग मिनिस्ट्रीज होती हैं. There are a lot of ministries. So अल्टीमेट कंसेप्ट है कि द लेजिस्लेचर कीप्स अ चेक ऑन द एग्जीक्यूटिव. मिनिस्ट्रीज पे हमेशा कंट्रोल रखना है. नाउ डिफरेंट कमिटीज वर देयर, दे वर नॉट एबल टू एक्सरसाइज चेक कंप्लीटली. सो इन 1993 दे स्टार्टेड द कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट रिलेटेड स्टैंडिंग. जितनी भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, ऑल द मिनिस्ट्रीज इन द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, they are given advice by one of the committees related to that ministry. So of course for small ministries like new and renewable energy, culture, tourism, one parliamentary committee will take care of 3 ministries, but all the ministries come under some or the other department related standing committee. There are 24 such committees, up to 31 members are there, 21 from Lok Sabha, 10 from Rajya Sabha. ये department related standing committee क्या करती है, जिस भी, जैसे I'll show you here. For example, there is, although we don't use wiki ever, but here it is for easily, I strongly say it is an open source, you should not use wiki, but here I know it is correct, so I using so that you understand. If you see here the list of committees, okay, so if you see parliamentary जो department related standing committee है 24, हर committee कुछ ministries को cover, every committee covers certain ministry. If there is a big ministry, then there will be only one committee, like Ministry of Railways. So ये ministry, इस ministry के अंदर में, इस committee के अंदर में इतने ministries हैं, इस committee के अंदर में एक ministries है, so इस committee के अंदर में इतने ministries हैं, इसमें. So all the ministries come under some or the other department related standing committee, and these DRSCs keep a check on the executive. They study the demands. For example, I am the finance minister. I am saying 3 lakh crore rupees should be given to Ministry of Road Transport Highways this year. So before the parliament will vote on 3 lakh crore, this demand will go to department related standing committee related to the respective ministry. It will go there and then they will also give their opinion. ये कमेटी के पास मैंने मिनिस्टर हूं, मैंने बोला कि इस साल 3 लाख करोड़ रुपया मिलना चाहिए, 3 lakh crore rupees should be given to Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So जो भी कमिटी होगी on road transport and highways, उसकी भी राय ली जाएगी कि पैसा दिया जाना चाहिए कि नहीं. So their opinion shall also be taken whether the money should be given or not. So they give certain recommendations which are not binding in nature, but at least they will give certain advices. So these committees, for example, the ministry की annual report है, the committee will study. So committee is keeping a check on the executive, yani legislature, and ministers cannot become member of committee. Only a private member can become member of a committee. So members of parliament keep a tab on the executive. So legislature is keeping a check on the executive. Let's see the UPSC question which they have asked. Now, ye hai which of the first? So you have ad hoc committee or a parliamentary finance commission, or all these things have nothing. So we will settle for A, that is 1 and 2. No, please. See, bilkul. Department, there are 24 department related standing committees, up to 21 members from Lok Sabha, 10 members from Rajya Sabha. From 1993 to 2004, there were 17 department related standing committees. 17 department related standing committees till 2004. In 2004, they increased the department related standing committee from 17 to 24. So abhi 24 department related standing committees are 21 members from Lok Sabha and 10 members from Rajya Sabha. And 16 of such committees come under Lok Sabha. Members in all the committees from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But to provide them secretarial assistance, peon, room, biscuit, chai, discussion, noting, typewriting, camera, all these things, whatever internal discussions and all those things, 16 committees come under Lok Sabha and 8 committees come under Rajya Sabha. But in all the committees, you will find member of Lok Sabha also as well as Rajya Sabha. Jaldi पूछिए. See, budget, see, participate without a shadow of doubt, yes. They can discuss the budget also, पर इस बाबू इस कमिटी के recommendations binding नहीं, 4 functions ऐसे line से दिए हुए हैं. To study the demands related to respective ministries. फिर लिखता है, they will not suggest anything which is of cut motion. So the committee will only overall give a view that whether it is wise to spend the money, but it will not make a cut motion. Yes, they are part of the discussion, पर उनके recommendations but binding nahi hai. Any book on earth you will open, 4 functions milenge. First function, to study the demands pertaining to ministries and departments, full stop. They will not suggest anything of cut motion. Second, to study the bills related to respective ministries. Third, to study the long-term policy document related to respective ministry. Fourth, to study the annual report of that particular ministry. So undoubtedly, indirectly, during the budget, the members of Rajya Sabha also scrutinize, but their recommendations are not बाइंडिंग इन नेचर. अभी सब इजी क्वेश्चन. आर्टिकल 102 कहता है, अब वही बात है ना, ईच एंड एवरी क्वेश्चन रिक्वायर्स 1 hour. ओके, ईच एंड एवरी क्वेश्चन. फॉर एग्जांपल आर्टिकल 102 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. फॉर एग्जांपल, अब गौर से सुनिए, हाउ मेनी ऑर्गन्स आर देयर इन द स्टेट? अरे कितने ऑर्गन है जी? लेजिस्लेचर, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशियरी. अब लेजिस्लेचर का काम क्या है? Legislature's job is to make laws, to raise the issues related to their constituency, to hold the executive accountable, to raise issues in general. Legislature, if for example I am the prime minister or part of the executive, there are thousands of posts. Everybody cannot be made minister, because minister you only 15% can become minister. So government will start like this: okay, you are the chairman of National Scheduled Caste Commission, Scheduled Tribe Commission, Backward Classes Commission, micro, small, medium enterprises, heavy enterprises. You have some cooperative, some coffee board of India, tea board. So there are thousands of posts under government of India. So if the members of legislature, all of them cannot become minister, because only 15% can become minister. Baki rest of them should made chairman of these different boards. So kya hoga? The prime job of the legislature is to hold the executive accountable. If they will keep the post from executive, then Supreme Court says they should not be corrupted by executive's patronage. So जो member of legislature है, वो कोई दूसरा post hold नहीं कर सकता except the post of minister. A member of legislature is not allowed to hold any post except the post of मिनिस्टर तक. अब उसमें एक केविएट है, आर्टिकल 102 रेड विद आर्टिकल 103. सो नाउ आई गिव यू, वही बोले ना, ये 1 घंटे का टॉपिक है, बट ब्रीफली वेरी 2 minutes विल गिव. फॉर एग्जांपल जया बच्चन वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया. Jaya Bachchan ji was a member of parliament of Raj Sabha, and at the same time she was appointed by UP government as the chairman of film development body in UP. Somebody filed a petition in Supreme Court that this is an office of profit. A member of parliament cannot take any post other than the पोस्ट ऑफ मिनिस्टर. अब इसका एक एक्सेप्शन है, आर्टिकल 191 एंड आर्टिकल 103 एंड रेड विथ 102 कहता है पार्लियामेंट कैन एग्जेम्प्ट एनी पोस्ट फ्रॉम ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट. अगर पार्लियामेंट चाहे तो कुछ पोस्ट को ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट से एग्जेम्प्ट कर सकती है. अदरवाइज इफ यू आर अ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, जो काम मिला है वही, द ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट विल मेक लॉज, द ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स विल रेज द इश्यूज, दे कैन बिकम ओनली minister. Other than the minister, they cannot take any other post. They can take those posts which is exempted by the parliament. So Jaya Bachchan ji was appointed as the chairman of UP film development body, which somebody filed a petition matter. Supreme Court said no. What all facilities she is getting? So something happened, that chauffeur driven car, something. So rent free accommodation. Supreme Court said no. If you are getting this benefit, you are holding an office of profit, and she was disqualified. So later on, and one more member of parliament was holding a post of chairman National Advisory Council. So that honorable member also resigned. Parliament amended the law and added a provision that this post will not be an office of profit, and they got themselves re-elected again. Yani Supreme Court कहता है members of legislature should not be corrupted by executives पेट रहे हैं. अगर आप सब लेजिस्लेचर के मेंबर हैं, आप एग्जीक्यूटिव में मिनिस्टर बन सकते हैं और कोई पोस्ट होल्ड नहीं, वरना आप अपना काम छोड़ के आप मजे कीजिएगा. यू विल नॉट बी डूइंग योर प्रिंसिपल जॉब, यू विल बी डूइंग समथिंग विच इज डिफरेंट. पार्लियामेंट चाहे तो किसी पोस्ट को ऑफिस, आई कुड हैव शोन एवरीथिंग बट इट विल टेक एम्पल ऑफ टाइम. यूजुअली इन द क्लास वी सी यूज द थिंग एंड वी शो एवरीथिंग. सो द पार्लियामेंट कैन exempt any post from the post of office of profit, and the state legislature can also exempt for the MLAs and MLCs of the state any post from office of profit. I'll give you an example. Somebody I know was appointed as the chairman of some board. So he sent me the notification. He was the MLA. His brother-in-law sent me, the younger brother of his brother-in-law, he sent me a notification कि he has been appointed to this board. In Hindi it was written, इस पद पर रहते हुए इनको कोई भत्ता नहीं मिलेगा. So he was an MLA appointed to some board. So while holding that post, he will not get any benefit. Otherwise, somebody will file a complaint that this is an office of profit. So although it is a 1 hour topic, but I'm just trying to summarize कि सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स को मेंटेन करने के लिए एग्जीक्यूटिव को, लेजिस्लेचर को एग्जीक्यूटिव से कोई लालच, दे शुड नॉट बी करप्टेड बाय एग्जीक्यूटिव्स पेट्रोनेज. एट बेस्ट दे कैन बिकम, 2 exceptions, एट बेस्ट दे कैन बिकम ministers, or some post can be exempted by the parliament as office of profit prevention of disqualification. So if those post, वो post आप hold कीजिएगा, then you will not be disqualified. Let's see the question. The Parliament Prevention of Disqualification Act exempts several posts from disqualification on office of profit. It is an absolutely correct statement. The above mentioned act was amended 5 times. UPSC knows very well that no aspirant knows that how many times the act was amended. Okay, but one thing that the entire earth knows, first line that is taught in office of profit in any class, that office of profit is not defined in the constitution. वो एक पोस्ट को देख के बोलो, okay, this is the benefit you are getting chauffeur driven car, rent free accommodation, okay, you are getting some remuneration, any such thing. On these basis they will decide whether it is an office of profit or not. So ये कह रहा office of profit is well defined in the constitution. Third statement is a wrong. So we will eliminate third and we will get 2. So UPSC also knows that you don't know that how many times act has been amended, but then it gave a hint that you know this and you will get an answer by the, ये यूपीएससी को मालूम है कि किसी को नहीं मालूम है कि एक्ट कितनी बार अमेंड हुआ था, ये फैक्चुअली पॉसिबल नहीं है, पर ये आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट को डिफाइन नहीं किया गया है. सो यूपीएससी नोज दैट यू डोंट नो द सेकंड स्टेटमेंट एंड दैट्स फाइन इफ यू डोंट नो, बट थर्ड स्टेटमेंट इज वेल डिफाइंड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दैट एवरीवन नोज दैट द ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट इज not well defined. So we'll eliminate 3 and we'll get answer AN 1 and 2, that is option A. अब इसमें क्वेश्चन पूछ सकता है ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट, सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स, ऑल सच थिंग. ओके, नाउ दिस, द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया कैन समन अ सेशन ऑफ पार्लियामेंट एट सच प्लेस, एग्जैक्टली आर्टिकल 85 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया कैन समन द पार्लियामेंट एट सच प्लेस एंड टाइम ही थिंक्स फिट. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया प्रोवाइड्स फॉर 3 sessions. I told you these sessions are not mentioned in the, only article 85 says 6 months or more gap should not be there between 2 sessions. This is wrong. There is no minimum number of days that the parliament is required to meet. Yes, there is no such speculation. First and third is correct. I will settle for C for Calcutta. अब ये Rajya Sabha has equal powers with Lok Sabha. Equal powers. In creation of new All India service, Rajya Sabha has more powers. Article 312. Amending the constitution, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have absolutely equal powers. Removal of the government, Article 75 clause 3. The Lok Sabha has power, Rajya Sabha has no such power. Making cut motions, demands are not voted upon in Lok Sabha. जब वोटिंग नहीं हो रहा है तो कट मोशन कहां से आ जाएगा? So Rajya Sabha doesn't have a power on cut motion. गौर से सुनिए. What is a cut motion? When voting on demand takes place in Lok Sabha, for example, there is 3 lakh crore rupees that is going to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So ये जो voting होगी, voting के वक्त you can introduce a cut motion कि no, reduce the demand by any amount. It is economic cut motion. Reduce the entire demand by policy cut motion. They will reduce the demand to ₹1. It will be of no worth. Or any token cut motion, you want to be reduce the demand by ₹100. All those cut motions are there. So cut motion तब इंट्रोड्यूस होगा जब वोटिंग होगी डिमांड पे, और वोटिंग तो सिर्फ लोकसभा में होगी. जब राज्यसभा में वोटिंग ही नहीं हुई तो कट मोशन कहां से आ गया? Voting on demand takes place only in Lok Sabha. So cut motions are introduced when voting on demand is, for example, we are discussing that he is the minister for road transport highways, he should be given 3 lakh crore. Any member can move a cut motion that no, I want this amount to be reduced by X amount. So this voting takes place only in Lok Sabha. So Rajya Sabha cannot introduce a cut motion because voting on demand doesn't take place in Rajya Sabha. So this statement is also wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. So we'll settle for 13B for Bombay. Now, this is an easy Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act, yeah, Article 113. Along with the budget, the finance minister also places other documents like macroeconomic framework. So this is in 2003, a law was passed that when you will present the budget, you will also overall the economic framework should be informed to the parliament. Purely a factual question, and the answer is D for Delhi. This is something different. Okay. Now this, then we can take a small break. Consider the following statement. In India, there is no law restricting the candidate. This question was dropped by UPSC. This question was dropped by UPSC. In India, there is no law restricting the candidate from contesting from more than from 3 constituencies. No, you can only contest from not 3. So this is wrong. Devilal ji contested from 3 Lok Sabha constituencies. Yes, 91. At that time, it was not there. If, for example, I get elected from 2 seats, anybody who gets elected from 2 seats, 1 seat and 2 seats. So if he gets elected from 2 seats, he has to resign one of the seats. So he will resign and there will be a by-election. Just because of him, the government will pay so much money for by-election. Actually, he won from 2 places. So इसमें लिखा है कि as per the rules, if a candidate contests from in one Lok Sabha from many constituencies, in one election of Lok Sabha from many constituencies, he will bear the cost of by-election. No. Although technically this is always said कि अगर इंसान ने रिजाइन किया है तो उसके बदला सरकार को फिर से इलेक्शन करना पड़ रहा है. One person has won from two places and because of him government has to conduct election again. So this is technically he should bear the cost, but there is no such provision. For example, if I get elected from two constituency, so I have to resign from one of the constituency, I will resign, and then in that constituency there will be by election. So by election crores of rupees is being spent because of me. So it says that I should bear the cost. No, I should not. There is no such rule. Although people say that it should be there, but there is no such rule. So in India there is no law. So this we will not see the answers because the question has been dropped by UPSC. They have deleted this question. Now, which of the following are exclusive powers of Lok Sabha? Ratification of national emergency, Article 352, both the houses ratify within 1 month by special majority. Passing of a no confidence motion is the exclusive power of Lok Sabha under Rule 198 of Lok Sabha and Article 75 Clause 3, that the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of People. Then we have to impeach the President of India. Article 61 of the Constitution. Impeachment of President takes place by both the houses, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So Lok Sabha uniquely doesn't have any such power. So this is a correct thing. So we'll settle for which of the following are exclusive powers of Lok Sabha. So this is a no confidence motion is an exclusive power of Lok Sabha. So we'll settle for B2 only. So we can take a break of 5-7 minutes. We come back and we'll discuss the rest. Okay. Now, it says which of the following are exclusive powers of Lok Sabha. So please understand कि exclusive powers of Lok Sabha is that Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to Lok Sabha, House of People. So we'll settle for B2 only. Now this is an easy question, but they have framed it in such a way to confuse you. It says, as per the rules of Lok Sabha, the election of the deputy speaker shall be held on such date as speaker may fix. Now listen, Constitution says that the houses shall choose speaker and deputy speaker as soon as possible. One. In the Constitution, nothing is written that who will fix the date and all. Rule 7 of Lok Sabha says that the date of election of speaker shall be determined by President. Rule 8 of Lok Sabha says that the date of election of deputy speaker shall be determined by speaker. So this statement is absolutely correct that as per the rules of Lok Sabha, election of deputy speaker shall be by the speaker. There is a convention in India, although 17th Lok Sabha, it didn't happen, that deputy speaker post is offered to the opposition and speaker post is given to the ruling party. So there is a mandatory provision that election of deputy speaker shall be either from principal opposition party or the ruling party. There is no such provision. As a convention, this is speaker is from the ruling party and deputy speaker is from the opposition. This is merely a convention. 17th Lok Sabha mein this convention was not followed. In 18th Lok Sabha till now we don't have a deputy speaker. So this statement is a wrong. So it says that as a mandatory, it is not mandatory, it is merely something which is unwritten, but it is usually followed as a part of culture or convention. So this statement is wrong. Deputy speaker has the same power as the speaker when presiding over Lok Sabha. So and no appeal lies against his ruling. So the point is कि if you see he has the same power, this statement तो चलो you have eliminated. Now you are left with only 1 and 3. So in both the statement 3 is there. So you know that 3 is a correct statement. Only 5. The well-established parliamentary practice regarding the appointment of deputy speaker is that it is moved by the speaker and seconded by prime minister. Why it will be moved by the speaker? Speaker himself will conduct the election in an impartial manner. Why will he move the name of someone else? Getting my point? So this, it says it is a well-established practice that deputy speaker is that motion is moved by speaker. There is no such practice that motion is moved by the speaker. All such are confusing things. Both the places they have mentioned well-established to confuse you and giving a wrong statement but making it too affirmative in nature to change the psyche. So this statement is also a wrong statement. So we will settle for 1 and 3. First is correct and 3 is also correct. A था ना 1 and 3. Yes. Now we will see this. It says, as per the constitution, a bill amending the constitution requires the prior recommendation of president. There is no such provision. Only one. Financial bill 1 requires the prior recommendation of president. 1. Second, you have article 4 of the constitution read with article 3. A bill to amend the to create a new state requires the prior recommendation of president. 2. Third, article 109 read with 110. A money bill requires the prior recommendation of president. Fourth, financial bill 2, it does not require the recommendation of president in first stage. First reading, when the bill is being introduced, at that time you don't require the recommendation of president. When House will discuss the bill for the first time, consider it, then you require the recommendation of president. But in a constitution amendment bill, there is no need to have the prior recommendation of president before introducing any such bill. So a bill amending the constitution requires a prior recommendation of president. This is a wrong statement. When a constitution amendment bill is presented to the President of India, it is obligatory for the President to give his assent. This provision was added later by a constitution amendment. It is written in Article 368 that the President shall give his assent. So it is obligatory on the President to give assent to a constitutional amendment bill. A constitutional amendment bill must be passed by both Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha by a special majority, and there is no provision for joint sitting. So there cannot be a joint sitting for a constitution amendment bill. So first is also correct, third is also correct. I will settle for question number 18C, that is 1 and 3 only. गौर से सुनिए. 1. One more question was asked, that a private member can introduce a constitution amendment bill or not. बताइए. इंट्रोड्यूस तो कोई भी कर सकता है. A private member can also introduce constitution amendment bill. Constitution amendment bill has to be passed by both the houses of parliament. Both the houses of parliament will vote separately. Special majority is required in both the houses. Special majority is absolute majority and 2/3 members present and voting. Raj Sabha and Lok Sabha has equal power. There is no provision of joint sitting for a constitution amendment bill. All such things are there. So this is correct and there is also correct. So this is wrong. When a constitution, this is correct and this is correct. So we'll settle for B, 2 and 3 only. Okay. Now this question was two questions were such that where there was a lot of debate, and UPSC, because UPSC means to say financial bill, they have given only 2 as the correct answer. In case of disagreement between Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, but there is no joint sitting for money bill, but a joint sitting necessary for financial bill. Okay, finance bill. Okay, so this statement was wrong, but in this question, most of the answer keys got it wrong. This was one such question where they have not actually clarified finance bill or financial bill. Some scholars are of the opinion that technically this should be financial bill. Anyways, when Lok Sabha transfers finance bill, it can amend or reject the bill. If it is all money bills are not all money bills are financial bills, but all financial bills are not money bill. Technically, going by their answer, they could have, this is the only question where there is a confusion because they have meant financial bill, but they have typed finance bill. So going by this, when Lok Sabha transmits financial bill to Raj Sabha, it can amend or reject it. Financial bill 1 and financial bill 2 can be amended by the Raj Sabha, and Lok Sabha transmits money bill, it can It cannot amend, it can only make recommendation. This is also a correct statement. We'll go for only 2. This question actually, there is all the literature is available, constitution and all. The correct word here should be financial bill, because finance bill is subjected to all the conditions of money bill, and finance bill is also in a way what you call the matters related to taxation. So since there is a what you call a somewhat of grayness in this, still we'll settle for question number 19B only 2. Now you see here, which of the following statements about ethics committee are correct? This is purely a factual question. Why it was asked in 2024? This was one question which was known to the students even before the start of exam. I have said in the class also that they will be asking ethics or and privileges committee, because last year a member of parliament was expelled on the recommendation of ethics committee. So ये sure था almost कि UPSC may ask a question on ethics committee, and they have asked a question. A member of parliament, there was a recommendation from ethics committee that led to the you remember, that led to the expulsion of an honorable member of parliament. So ethics committee was in news. जब बनी थी ethics committee, it was an ad hoc committee. Okay, only a member of Lok Sabha can complain. No, ethics committee को कोई भी complain, you, me, anybody who feels that anybody has breached an ethics, he can file a complaint. So this is wrong. Not only the members of Lok Sabha, outsiders also. This committee cannot take up any matter which is sub judice. In general, sub judice matlab a matter that is pending in the court. In general, the legislature never discusses anything that is sub judice. So this is actually correct. Many a time there is a notice given to the speaker to discuss a particular issue. The speaker says, no, this matter is sub judice. So there is a healthy separation of powers. Those matters pending in the Supreme Court or High Court, matter which is sub judice, cannot be discussed in the Parliament. Similarly, Article 121, conduct of the judges of Supreme Court and High Court shall not be discussed in the Parliament. Article 122, the proceedings of the Parliament shall not be called into question in any court on ground of irregularity of procedure. Article 105, anything you say on the floor of the House or any vote given shall not be called into question in any court. So there is a separation of power. Parliament cannot discuss the judge's conduct except when their removal proceeding is there. The judiciary cannot question the procedure of the Parliament. Whatever you say inside the Parliament, if you have said something wrong, Parliament will punish you through its committee, but no outside court will interfere. Anything said on the floor of the House shall not be called into question in any court. So this promotes separation of powers, कि one organ will not interfere in the matter. So this committee cannot take up any matter which is sub judice. This is a correct statement. Parliamentary committees do not take up matter that are sub judice. So first and third is correct. I will settle for C for Calcutta. 20. Now this again was a question. Article 109 mentions special procedure in respect of money bills. Special procedure in respect of money bill. So you know, if you will see the constitution, this question has been asked so many times. So let's see the constitution only. Thank you. So Constitution of India PDF. Okay, now since we have the technology, so we'll use it. Okay. Now listen, Article 109 of the Constitution. Okay. Article 109. Special procedure. A money bill shall not be introduced in Rajya Sabha. So money bill cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Next. After a money bill has been passed by Lok Sabha, it is sent to Rajya Sabha for its recommendation, not for amendment. And Rajya Sabha within a period of 14 days from the date return the bill to Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha may accept its recommendations or may not accept, but not amendments, mere recommendations. If the Lok Sabha accept, then of course it will be passed. If the Lok Sabha doesn't accept, then also it will be deemed to be passed in the form in which it was passed by Lok Sabha. So if they do not return within 14 days, then 15th day the bill will go to the president. So maximum Rajya Sabha can delay it by 14 days. Now, and this is the definition of money bill. Now you see the constitution, the provision. Now you are going to answer this. A money bill shall not be introduced in Rajya Sabha. True or false? True है या false है? अभी you saw the statement वहां सीधा लिखा हुआ था, money bill shall not be introduced in. So this line has been directly taken from the constitution. Then it says Rajya Sabha can either approve or suggest changes but cannot reject. Yes, this is also correct. An amendment to money bill suggested by Rajya Sabha have to be accepted by Lok Sabha. No, it may accept or may not accept. So what should be the answer according to you? कह रहा है थर्ड स्टेटमेंट जो है, फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट, सेकंड स्टेटमेंट इज आल्सो अ correct statement, third is also correct. So we will settle for C 1, 2 and 3. Now you see here, with reference to Union Finance Minister, the Union Finance Minister on the behalf of Prime Minister lays annual financial statement. देखते चले Constitution क्या, we'll see the Constitution. Now Article 112 क्या लिखा हुआ है? The President shall in respect of every financial year cause to be laid before both the houses of parliament. So finance minister introduces on the behalf of prime minister or president? On the behalf of president. The president shall in respect of every financial year cause to be laid. Now you see, the union finance minister on the behalf of prime minister, not on the behalf of prime minister, on the behalf of president. Wrong. At union level, no demand for grant can be made except on the recommendation of president of India. Correct. So this is a correct statement. This is a factual statement. You can read Article 113. So the point is that this can be introduced only by on the recommendation of what is a demand for grant. I am the finance minister. I am saying rural development ministry 9400 crore. Culture ministry 5700 crore, external affairs ministry 90,000 crore or 10,000 crore, or sports ministry 15,000 crore, rural development ministry maybe 60,000 crore, ministry of heavy any culture, tourism, finance, defense, external affairs. You're getting my point now. So many ministry, ministry of panchayati raj, ministry of rural development, housing and urban affairs, civil aviation, so many ministries are there at the union. Ministry of culture, new and renewable energy, programs and statistics implementation, ministry of minority affairs, ministry of home affairs, so many ministries are there. Finance minister सबसे पहले पूछ लेती हैं. She asks from everyone, what is your requirement? Accordingly, she proposes a demand in the house that this year I want to give this much money to X ministry. Now that demand is voted upon by Lok Sabha, then only the money goes to the respective ministry. So it says that at union level, no demand can be made except all such demand has to be accompanied by an approval of the president. So this statement is a correct statement. This statement is a wrong statement. Okay, so this is what you call question number. We'll settle for B2 only because first statement is a wrong statement. Okay. With reference to the Indian Parliament, consider the following. A bill pending in Lok Sabha. Now this I have explained you and you are going to answer. A bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its resolution. A bill passed by Lok Sabha and pending in Rajya Sabha lapses on its resolution. Yes. Even if the bill has been passed by Lok Sabha, it is pending with Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha gets dissolved, bill will also get lapse. Will also lapse. A bill in regard to which the president has notified the intention to summon the joint sitting lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. No. Now this is a tricky one. All of you have not understood. Gaur se suniye. For example, on 13th April, the president issues an order under Article 108 of the Constitution. On 13th April, president ने एक order issue किया कि we will have joint sitting on 19th April. So 13th को president ने inform किया कि 19th को joint sitting है. 16th को Lok Sabha got dissolved. Although Lok Sabha got dissolved before the joint sitting, then also joint sitting will go ahead and all those outgoing members of Lok Sabha, they will participate in the joint sitting. So no joint sitting can be called after the dissolution of Lok Sabha. In that case, the bill will lapse. If a joint sitting has already been called and during the calling of joint sitting and conduct of joint sitting, in that period Lok Sabha gets dissolved, then also joint sitting will be conducted as scheduled and the members of old Lok Sabha that dissolve will participate in the joint sitting. So यहाँ कह रहा है a bill president has notifies intention to summon a joint sitting lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. No. कोई ऐसी बिल जो लोकसभा डिसॉल्व होने से पहले जिसके लिए प्रेसिडेंट ने ज्वाइंट सिटिंग बुला रखी है, ऐसी कोई भी बिल लैप्स नहीं करेगी. एनी बिल फॉर विच ज्वाइंट सिटिंग हैज बीन कॉल्ड बिफोर द डिसोल्यूशन ऑफ लोकसभा, सच बिल विल नॉट लैप्स. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल 13th को प्रेसिडेंट ने अनाउंस किया कि वी आर अ बिल ऑन 13th द प्रेसिडेंट अनाउंस दैट ओके नो प्रॉब्लम वी विल हैव जॉइंट सिटिंग ऑन 19th April. बिटवीन 13 to 19th April 6 days, ड्यूरिंग दिस 6 day लोकसभा गॉट dissolved, then also the sitting will take place, joint sitting. So this is a wrong statement where you say that the lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. So we will settle for a bill passed by Lok Sabha and pending in Raj Sabha lapses. This is also, so we'll settle for B for Bombay, that is 1 and 2. समझ गया ना? क्योंकि कोई भी ऐसी बिल जिसके लिए ज्वाइंट सिटिंग ऑलरेडी बुला ली गई है, अगर लोकसभा डिसॉल्व भी हो जाती है तो उस बिल पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा और जो लोकसभा डिसॉल्व हुई है उसके मेंबर्स पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे. Any bill for which joint sitting has already been called, even if the Lok Sabha gets dissolved, that thing will go ahead as proceeded and the members of old Lok Sabha will participate. But the question says that if the president has notified the summoning of joint sitting, then the bill lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. No, the bill does not lapse on the dissolution of Lok Sabha. So third statement is wrong. We will settle for 1 and 2. That is option B for Bombay. हाँ सी, हाँ तो यही तो इसी के लिए तो आप आए हैं यहाँ, यही सीखने के लिए ना आप आए हैं. ये तो कॉमन सेंस है. बट वी विल गो बाय द कॉन्स्टी. अभी 100 थिंग्स आई विल से वेर यू विल थिंक डिफरेंटली. आई हैव गिवन यू 10 एग्जांपल्स व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड द लेक्चर. वी विल डू व्हाट इज द करेक्ट थिंग. क्यों बाबू? नाउ ही इज जेंटलमैन इज आस्किंग अ गुड क्वेश्चन. सर, न्यू लोकसभा विल participate, but you understand which Lok Sabha rejected the bill? The outgoing Lok Sabha. Which government recommended the president to call a joint sitting? The outgoing government. And most important thing, when the joint sitting is announced, it is usually conducted in 3-4 days or 1 week. So is it possible to constitute a new Lok Sabha? So technically the outgoing members of Lok Sabha will, but technically a bill that has been passed by Lok Sabha pending in Raj Sabha also what you call lapses on the dissolution of Lok Sabha, क्योंकि it is going as per the constitution. Getting my point? So what we will settle? चलो that question तो we have seen. यहाँ आइए. With reference to the speaker of Lok Sabha, consider the following statement. When the speaker's removal proceeding is going on, it is a violation of principle of natural justice. So there is a provision कि जब, अब गौर से सुनिए, speaker doesn't vote unless there is a tie. किसी दुनिया का कुछ भी, anything happens, if there is a tie between A and B, 60 people have voted in favor of A and 60 people have voted in favor of A, against the A, then speaker will vote. So speaker normally doesn't participate in the voting unless there is a tie. So now you will say speaker votes at first instance or second instance. First instance mein to when everyone voted, now there is a tie. Now second instance mein speaker will go and vote. So speaker doesn't vote in first instance, he votes in second instance. Second point, important point. When the removal of speaker is going on, speaker will sit there as an ordinary member. He will vote when everyone is voting. Now he will not vote as second instance, he will vote at first instance. So speaker always votes at second instance, but when his removal is going on, then he will vote at first instance, not second. Up third, the vice president of India, when his removal is going on in Raj Sabha, he will not even vote. Why? Because he is not a member of Raj Sabha. But if there is a tie on a bill, then the chairman of Raj Sabha will vote even if he is not a member. So vice president can vote over a bill if there is a tie, but vice president cannot vote when his removal proceedings are going on. समझे? So vice president has the power to vote if there is a tie between two groups. Then he will vote, although he is not a member of Rajya Sabha. But he will not vote when his removal is going on. Speaker will vote when his removal is going on in first instance, because speaker is the member of Lok Sabha from Kota Lok Sabha कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी इन राजस्थान. अब कहता है कि जब उनकी रिमूवल हो रहा है तो एक कॉमन सेंस है कि ही विल नॉट प्रिसाइड. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ नेचुरल जस्टिस, nobody shall be a judge of their own nemo debit, so nobody can be a judge of their own case. He shall not have the right to speak. You just say anybody who is being removed, he should be given an opportunity to present his views. Then only na audi altrum partem. Audi altrum partem means the other. Audi means audience, means listen. Altrum means alternate. Partem means party. So you must listen the other party. So he should have the right to speak, and he will not be entitled to vote at first instance. Why? He is also a member of Lok Sabha. Chairman cannot vote when his removal is going on, but speaker can vote when his removal is going on, because speaker is a member of Lok Sabha. So he will not be entitled. This statement is wrong. This statement is wrong. We will settle for 24A. That is one only. समझ रहे ना? अब ये सब these are not even questions. In these questions you are not supposed. These are from Lakshmikant. Okay. These are from, like, in these questions, so you cannot even thinking of making mistake is not allowed. Okay, because these are directly given from Lakshmikant. So many things I said at the beginning, they remember those things. Okay, so those articles also you will go through. Okay. Now, with reference to the Parliament of India, consider the following statement. Prorogation of a house by the President does not require the advice of Council of Ministers. House, the session of the Parliament is called on. I'll give you an example. Last year, Punjab government moved Supreme Court against the governor. The Council of Ministers recommended the governor to call a session, and governor delayed the same. So they moved Supreme Court, although by the time the hearing happened in Supreme Court, by that time session was called by the governor. So session is prorogued and summoned only on the advice of, although it is not exactly in Article 85 it is written, but Article 74, the President shall act on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So many things are not written, but yes, on the advice of Executive. Some books you will find on the advice of Prime Minister. Generally, you understand the Executive makes a recommendation and President summons. So prorogation matlab ending, termination of a session. Session जो खत्म होता है, that is called as prorogue. जैसे monsoon session, winter session, budget session, the termination of a session is called as prorogation. So prorogation of a house by the President does not require, it actually requires the councillor. So this is a wrong state. Prorogation is done after the house is adjourned sine die, but there is no bar on the President prorogating the house. So this is something which you see. Prorogation of a house is generally done after the house is adjourned sine die, but there is no bar to the President of India prorogating the house which is in session. Without, गौर से सुनिए, ongoing session can be terminated in 3 seconds. अब सेशन चल रहा है, सब बैठे हुए, अचानक द प्रेसिडेंट सेंड्स अ नोटिस ऑफ प्रोरोगेशन, हाउस इज प्रोरोग. सो प्रेसिडेंट कैन आल्सो प्रोरोग एन ऑन गोइंग सेशन. एक ऑन गोइंग सेशन को बीच में प्रोरोग किया जा सकता है. क्वेश्चन क्या कह रहा है? देयर इज नो, कोई प्रेसिडेंट पे कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है इन प्रोरोगिंग द. दिस इज ऑल्सो यहां क्या, यहां ये नहीं कह रहा है कि प्रेसिडेंट शैल नॉट प्रोरोग एन ऑनगोइंग सेशन. यहां कह रहा है देयर इज नो रेस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन द प्रेसिडेंट टू प्रोरोग एन ऑर्गन. ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज नो रेस्ट्रिक्शन. द प्रेसिडेंट कैन प्रोरोग एन आउट. यू सी द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. अगर ये कहता प्रेसिडेंट कैन नॉट प्रोरोग एन ऑनगोइंग सेशन, रॉन्ग. कैन द प्रेसिडेंट प्रोरोग एन ऑनगोइंग सेशन? यस. विल द प्रेसिडेंट prorogue? No, generally they will not, but do they have the power? They can even terminate an ongoing session and there is no restriction on it. Exactly what it says. Prorogation of a house is generally done after the house is adjourned sine die, and there is no bar on the president in prorogating the house in session. Sine die का मतलब होता है indefinite. Very simple. जैसे होता क्या है practically? For example, the session of parliament is from 1st to 27th December. On 27th December, all members of parliament know that today is the last day. Now the house is going to prorogue. But whoever is presiding, he cannot prorogue. Prorogue power is given to the president under Article 85. So presiding officer will not say today, on that day, ki house will meet on 27th at 11:30 am. That day it will say house is adjourned sine die. Matlab they have adjourned it indefinitely. After 2 days or 1 day, then the president will issue an order of prorogation. Till the time president issues the order of prorogation, speaker can again call the house. But if president orders prorogation, now speaker cannot, again the house can only be summoned by the president. गेटिंग में. सो हाउस खत जब पता है कि आज लास्ट दिन है, उस दिन साइनाडाई करते हैं स्पीकर, क्योंकि उनका पावर नहीं है प्रोरोगेशन का, वो साइनाडाई करके छोड़ देते हैं. 1-2 दिन बाद प्रेसिडेंट नोटिफिकेशन निकालकर हाउस को. सो द पावर ऑफ कॉलिंग अ न्यू सेशन एंड टर्मिनेटिंग अ सेशन इज ओनली विद द president, but the presiding officer is well aware that today is the last day, then there will be prorogation. So he will just say it is adjourned sine die. After few hours or next day or 2 days later, the president will issue an order of prorogation. So ये कह रहा है कि but there is no bar on, this is a correct statement. Dissolution of Lok Sabha is done by president, who save in exceptional circumstances does so on the advice of council of ministers. This is also correct statement. अब होता क्या है सुनिए. 16th लोकसभा का टेन्योर था 4th जून 2014 से 3rd जून 2019. 3rd जून 2019 was the automatic dissolution or date of 16th Lok Sabha. So usually what happens 10 days before that date, so that formation of a new government, all these things take time. So usually election commission completes the election procedure 10 days before the dissolution of Lok Sabha. So usually क्या होता है कि 3rd June 2019 was the tenure of 16th Lok Sabha. By 23rd May, results of 17th Lok Sabha were declared, and next day the election commissioner, CEC, Chief Election Commissioner, along with 2 election commissioners, hand over the official list of winners to the president. Then the outgoing council of ministers, outgoing cabinet as a formality, will recommend the president to dissolve 16th Lok Sabha and constitute 17th Lok Sabha. So generally the Lok Sabha is dissolved and constituted on the advice of council of ministers. Only in extraordinary circumstances president will dissolve on its own. So कह रहा है कि dissolution of Lok Sabha is done by the president, okay, who is save in exceptional circumstances does so on the advice of council of ministers. So this is something which is there. 2 is also correct, and what you call prorogation of the house does not require the advice of, no, it does require. So 2 and 3 are correct. So we will settle for C for Calcutta. Which all articles are to be studied? 1, you have to study article 85 of the Constitution. समझ गए ना? We will settle for C, 2 and 3 because statement 2 and 3 is correct. Okay, read article 85. I think we have many. Now DPSP, the principles spell out socio-economic democracy in the country. The provisions are not enforceable by any court. You know that this question has been asked before also. This question was asked few years back, that the directive principles promote social and economic justice. So socio-economic democracy is also given, and they are not enforceable by any court. This is also correct. Article 37 of the Constitution. These principles are fundamental for governance, but they shall not be enforceable in any court. You're getting my point, DPSP? And then it says that they are the government shall keep them in mind while making policies, but they are not enforceable. Both the statements are correct. We'll settle for C, both 1 and 2. Fundamental duties, this is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. This is also a preamble में कहाँ लिखा हुआ है? We the people of India do hereby solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, where justice, social, economic and political, where liberty of thought expression, belief, faith, worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and promoting among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of an individual and unity and integrity of the nation. So now this is, it is not written that you will uphold. It is one of the fundamental duties, that is to protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity, and render national service when called upon to do so. So we fundamental rights में तो कुछ है नहीं. DPSP में तो there is nothing of that. You have 36 and you have, I think you remember the 36 is the, what is 36 DPSP? Definition of state. 37 क्या है? These DPSPs are non-justiciable. 38, social, economic and political justice, minimize inequalities in income and eliminate inequalities in status, because inequalities in income cannot be eliminated. 39 you have A to F. 39A is free legal aid. 40 is Gandhian. 41 is right to work, old age assistance and all. 42 maternity benefit. 43 participation of workers in the management of industries, that is 43A. 43 is cottage industries and living wage. 43A participation of workers. 43B cooperative. 44 uniform Civil Code. 45 early childhood care and education. 46 SC, ST and weaker section. 47 public health and ban on the consumption of intoxicating drinks. 48 agriculture on scientific lines and ban on slaughter of cows, calves and milch and draught cattle. 48A environment. 49 is spoliation, disfigurement से save करना है archaeological monuments को. 50 separation of judiciary from executive and 51 is promotion of international peace and security. So there is no such provision here to promote the sovereignty and integrity. So to uphold it is a fundamental rights, you remember 12 to 35. So fundamental rights and DPSP to you should remember. 12 is definition of state. 13 is pre and post constitutional law, the most conceptual article in the constitution, that is article 13. 14 is equality before law, equal protection of laws. 15 you have clause 1 RRCSP, no discrimination. Clause 2 that 15 clause 1 no discrimination on the grounds of religion, race. 2 public ghats, restaurants etc. 3 nothing shall prevent the state from making special provision for women and children. 4 that backward classes, if there can be made a special provision for advancement. 5 you have the provision related to educational institution reservation, 93rd. 6 is EWS. Then 16 clause 1 equality in matters of public environment. 2 no discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, descent and all. Then you have 16 clause 3 parliament can prescribe residence as a criteria. 16 clause 4 provisions related to reservation. 5 any religious denominations, a same person can be appointed practicing that religion. 6 is EWS. 17 is untouchability. 18 is abolition of title. 19 1A freedom of speech and expression. B right to assemble peaceably without arms. C right to form an association, union or cooperative. D right to travel throughout the territory of India. F has been deleted. G right to practice any trade, occupation, profession or business. 20 है no self incrimination, no ex post facto law, no double jeopardy. 21 right to life. 21A education. 22 preventive and punitive detention. Then you have 23 bonded labor and 24 you have child labor. 25 subject to public order, morality and health. All persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience. 26 is a collective right to establish a synagogue for Jews and all. 27 is no tax, no person shall be compelled to pay tax for the promotion of any religion. And 28 is related to religious worship in educational institution. Anyways, so वहाँ पे तो ऐसा कुछ, there is no fundamental rights there. So the answer would be D, that is to fundamental duties. Now we see here. अब ये कोई question, idea of welfare state. Idea of welfare state is in Article 38 of all institutions of national life shall promote welfareism. Article 38 of the Constitution, social, economic and political justice. Minimize inequalities in income. Eliminate inequalities in status and promote welfareism. So these all are there in Article 38 of the Constitution, which is a socialist principle. So welfare state we will settle for DPSP. Okay. ये 2017 के सीरीज ए का क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 है, इसमें काफी कंफ्यूजन हुई. It says right to vote. Why there was confusion? First, in some cases Supreme Court has said that voting is also a form of expression. So Article 19(1)(a) freedom of speech and expression also in a way includes the power to express yourself. Section 62 clause 5 of Representation of People Act directly says, Section 62 right to vote. Section 62 is of RPA 1951 is right to vote, and Article 326 of the Constitution makes that all persons are subject to other grounds of disqualification such as non-residence, unsoundness of mind, crime, corrupt or illegal practice. इस ग्राउंड को छोड़ के all citizens have the right to vote under Article 326. अब यूपीएससी ने पूछा कि whether it is a constitutional right, legal right, natural right or fundamental right. Right to vote is not a fundamental right. स्टैट्यूटरी प्रोविजन है, सेक्शन 62 ऑफ आरपीए 1951 सेज राइट टू वोट, ये लिखा हुआ है राइट टू वोट. सो बट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कम्स अबव द ऑर्डिनरी लॉ. सो इट इज आर्टिकल 326 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. वी विल सेटल फॉर सी फॉर कैलकाटा, दैट राइट टू वोट इज अ constitutional right. Like Article 300 capital letter A, no person shall be deprived of his property save by the authority of law. Saved by the authority of law. So that is also a constitutional right as well as a legal right. अब I cannot vote in RK Nagar Assembly constituency in Chennai, Because Article 326 says every person who has attained the age of, every citizen attaining the age of 18 years shall be entitled to vote, subject to other grounds of disqualification such as unsoundness of mind, non-residence, crime, corrupt or illegal practice. So any person who is in jail, he will not have the right to vote, section 62 of RPA 1951. Any person who is not an ordinary resident will not be enrolled in voter list, RPA 1950. So I cannot vote in RK Nagar because I don't stay there. If I shift from Delhi or any place, then I can get my name registered, else I will not vote there. So voting right, up tomorrow UPSC will ask a question that right to vote is an absolute right, true or false? बताइए ना जी, absolute right मतलब उस पे कोई restriction नहीं होगा. So Article 17 is said to be absolute. Article 16 has so many exceptions. 15 has exception. 19 has exceptions. So 23 has an exception in clause 2. State can impose public service. So right to vote is an absolute right. True or false? Absolute right नहीं है. All the citizens shall have the right to vote subject to other grounds of disqualification such as non-residence, unsoundness of mind, crime, corrupt or illegal practice. So right to vote कोई absolute right नहीं है. जो जेल में है वो वोट नहीं, ये लॉ में लिखा है, सेक्शन 62 ऑफ आरपीए 1951. So right to vote is not an absolute right and this is a constitutional right. Okay. Which of the following are envisaged by right against exploitation? 14 to 18 is equality. You're getting, you know the classification. 23, 24 is right against exploitation. अब यूपीएससी ने पूछ दिया, एहसान कर दिया. They have asked, they are not going to, these questions are not benchmark. This everyone knows. You must be preparing. Prelims though is dicey also from mains perspective. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956, Bonded Labor System Abolition Act, then you have Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. पूरा act आपको, of course all the sections नहीं, 3 or 4 sections, and what is the implementary value of the law. जैसे act कह रहा है कि भाई no child shall be working, पर उसमें exceptions है दो, working in family or family enterprise. So if the mother asks the child to bring coriander, that is not child labor. This is written in the law. If the child after the school works for the family or family enterprise, if it is not hazardous in nature, or all these Dance India dance and small, they say na ki vote dijiyega. So the point is, so likha hua, if a child who works in an audio visual entertainment industry except circus and without hampering the education after school hours, that will not be seen as a right to bonded labor that is mentioned in Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. Okay, so अब इस पे आते हैं, इस पे कुछ भी नहीं है. Right against exploitation, Article 24 and Article 23. This is equality and this is cultural and educational rights. That is Article 30, because 29 is all not confined to minorities, it is confined to majority also. So कौन सी दो right है? 1 and 4 will settle for C. 1 and 4, इसमें तो you don't need to make any mistake. Okay, which of the following, हाँ, this was also a legislative. Now जिस सोरेन सिंह कमेटी ने रिकमेंड किया था कि बिना इंप्लीमेंट किए फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी कोई फॉलो नहीं करेगा. Nobody will follow fundamental duty without implement. So parliament is perfectly entitled to make a law. Parliament एक law बना सकती है, Fundamental Duties Enforceability Act, but no law has been made by the Parliament. Fundamental duties are not respected. It must be respected more if there is an element of enforceability. Enforceability nahi hai. Haan, there are other laws that indirectly implement fundamental duty, but there is no law that directly implements fundamental duties. So a legislative process has been provided to enforce these duties. No. Parliament, I am speaking in Hindi then in English. उन्होंने कमेटी ने रेकमेंड किया था कि इसको इन्फोर्स कीजिए. बिना इन्फोर्स किए लोग इज्जत नहीं करेंगे इसकी, पर पार्लियामेंट ने उसको अभी तक इन्फोर्स नहीं किया है. द कमेटी डिड रिकमेंड टू इन्फोर्स फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, बट द पार्लियामेंट डिड नॉट इनैक्ट अ लेजिस्लेशन which enforces us to follow. It should be our ethical commitment to follow fundamental duties. So there are certain laws that indirectly implement fundamental duties. जैसे first fundamental duty to respect the constitution, the institutions, the national flag. Getting my point? Ideals of the constitution. So national flag, national anthem. So there is a law, protection of prevention of insult to national honor act 1971. So if anybody disregards the national flag, it is an offense under the law. So one law is implementing the fundamental duty, but not implementing directly, but implementing indirectly. अब कह रहा है they are correlated to legal duties. This is an important thing. See, गांधी जी ने कहा rights and duties go hand in hand. If everyone is conscious of his duty, rights will not be far to seek. He has a right to live in peace. He has a duty not to play loud music. He has a right to live in clean environment. She has a duty not to pollute the environment. She has a duty to live in right to live in clean environment. She has a duty not to pollute the environment. Rights and duties go hand in hand. If everyone is conscious of his duties, rights will not be far to seek. हम सब अपनी ड्यूटी निभाएंगे तो किसी को राइट्स के लिए दूर जाना नहीं पर. Rights and duties go hand in hand. If everyone is conscious of his duties, rights will not be far to seek. Gandhi ji, Article 29, Clause 1 of United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Everyone has the duty towards the community to which they belong for free and full development of their personality. So even United Nations Declaration of Human Rights on 10th December 1948, Article 29, Clause 1 says, all of us has duty to the community to which we all belong. So even in UNSDR, you have fundamental duties or surprise. Fundamental duties were added in 1976, but in 1969, Chandra Bhavan boarding case, Supreme Court said it is wrong fallacy to think that the Constitution only has rights but not duties. So even if rights were not included in the Constitution, then also Supreme Court in 1969, 7 years before the addition of fundamental duties, Supreme Court said कि no, it is wrong to think that the Constitution only has rights. So अगर ड्यूटीज नहीं लिखी गई हैं तब भी हम पर वो एथिकली हमें इतनी समझदारी हो, we must develop that maturity, civic maturity to deal with that we have certain duties even if it is not explicitly provided in the Constitution. So and rights state अब ये they are correlative to legal duties. बिल्कुल नहीं. D, this was a confusing state. For example, the Supreme Court said this is one stand which is often taken. For example, a person who is there is a woman. So if the person says कि no, the Supreme Court says even prostitutes have the right to live with dignity. You cannot deny someone's fundamental rights just because he is not following fundamental duties. Then the state will clearly what you call disregard someone's fundamental right and say that he is not following duty. Duty today is not correlated to the rights. So they are correlated to duties, legal duties, they are galat. So we'll settle for D for Delhi, 6D for Delhi. We'll do. Now with context of Indian Constitution, which of the following is correct between rights and duties? Now this is a wonderful thing. So duties, not rights, are important for the stability of the state. No, it is not. Rights, not duties, are important for the advancement of both are necessary. Rights are personal, hence independent of society and duties. No, rights are not. So rights are correlative with duties. एक ethical concern है कि भाई rights and duties go hand in hand, but that doesn't give a reason to the state to violate someone's fundamental rights. Okay, here they are added, they are correlated to legal duties. So technically, if you go by the Constitution, there is no such thing. Ethically, if you see the general understanding, then rights are personal. All the three statements are easily eliminated. Hence, independent of society. Can right be independent of society? No. Can right be advancement? Duties are also necessary for the advancement, and also you have important for the stability of the state. These all are rights are correlative with duties. Now we have which principle of this is an easy. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act added Article 39 Clause F, Article 39 capital letter A, free legal aid. 3 point लिखा है. Operation of legal system should promote justice. No one shall be denied access to justice by economic or any other reason, and the state shall provide free legal aid. 3 things are given in Article 39A, that legal system in India should promote justice. The state shall provide free legal aid by legislation or any scheme, and no one shall be denied access to justice by way of economic or any other disability. गरीबी के कारण किसी को इंसाफ से दूर नहीं रखा जा. No one shall be denied access to justice by way of economic or any other disability. अब देखते हैं 42nd Amendment से क्या ऐड हुआ. Right to work, education and public assistance. This is Article 43. It was not added by public assistance and education is in Article 41. Undeserved one. This was not added in the right to work, public assistance, and this is part of original Constitution. So ये हो गया Article 41. Participation of workers in the management of industry. It is Article 43 capital letter A. So this was added by 42nd Amendment. Equal pay for equal work, that is Article 39 small letter A. That is part of the original Constitution. Secure living wage and human conditions of work. Living wage is Article 43 of the Constitution, which is part of the original constitution. So only this participation of workers in the management of industry is Article 43, capital letter A. Just remember, law has to be understood in the backdrop. किसी भी चीज को समझने के लिए उसका बैकग्राउंड समझना जरूरी है. Why the Constitution of India is tilted towards the Union? Because always remember, the Constitution was being drafted in the backdrop of partition. In the backdrop of partition, so you will find a tilt towards unity so as to maintain the unity and integrity of the country. From 1969, there was a wave of socialism. 1969 nationalization of banks, 1971 Garibi Hatao, 1972 Privy Purse abolition, all the movies that were coming during that period. So you have Zanjeer, Diwar, all the movies where the working class cause is being espoused by the protagonist. You see, if Amitabh Bachchan is a coolie, then also he is working for the working class. If he is a rich person in Sharabi, then also he is calling for the aspirations of working class. Most of the movies that were being written were working class and socialist in tinge. You see the kind of movies that are being made. We are not going into politics, but any movie or art reflects the mood of the society. So from 1969, there was a wave of socialism. The movies that were being made were of socialist in nature. You see Zanjeer, Diwar, all those movies where Amitabh is espousing the cause of working class. Then Article 43A, that the workers will also participate in the management of industries, undertaking, establishment, etc. Then we have Article what you call 39A, free legal aid. So there was clear-cut term socialist was added in preamble. So during that phase, there was clear-cut orientation towards socialism. Okay, so here to chalo easy hai, we'll settle for question number 8 ka B for Bombay. Okay, which of the following statement is correct? Rights are privileges for a few citizens against many. True or false? No, false. Rights are claims of citizens against the state. This is, we'll see more. Rights are privileges which are incorporated in the constitution of a state. Not necessarily always, because it can be in a law also. 100 days of unskilled manual labor in Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. That is not a constitution. Rights are claims of states against the citizen. Rights are claims of citizens. Again, right ka, there are multiple definitions of right. One such definition is rights are legally protected interests. Those interests which are legally protected. Some of them are protected by the constitution. Some of them are protected inside the constitution but outside part 3, constitutional rights. Some by an ordinary law, like 100 days of unskilled manual labor to every rural household through Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So rights are always legally protected interest that can come from fundamental right, that can come from outside fundamental rights but inside the constitution, or through a law. So I will settle for rights are claims of citizens against the state. Okay, 9C. Consider the following statement with reference to the constitution. DPSP, so सीधा Article 37 of the constitution says that these are not enforceable in any court. DPSP and limitation cannot go hand in hand. This was a pure tricky question to assassinate the student in the examination hall, but the answer is D for नहीं, क्योंकि DPSP सरकार पे कभी कोई बंदिश नहीं लगा सकती है. तो कह रहा है कि consider the following statement with reference to the Constitution of India directive principle constitutes limitations upon, clearly written in Article 37. These principles are not enforceable in any court and it shall be the duty of state to implement them while making laws and policies and all, but they are not justiciable. So जो चीज justiciable नहीं है वो सरकार पे limitation impose नहीं कर सकती है. सो दोनों स्टेटमेंट गलत है. सिर्फ कंफ्यूज करने के लिए एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन बनाया है. आंसर वुड बी डी फॉर दिल्ली एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम स्टूडेंट विल थिंक वेदर इट इज दिस और this. It has nothing to do with legislature and executive. It is everything to do with state. So we'll settle for D, neither 1 nor 2. Question number 10. A few questions we'll discuss, then we'll discuss tomorrow. Which of the following are main features of rule of law? So now people's responsibility to the government. Okay. So people's responsibility to the rule of law kya hai? Equality before law, absence of what you call any arbitrariness will not be there and there will be predominance of rights. Getting my point? So rule of law kya hai? Evidence ka. Equality before law, predominance of rights, and there is absence of any such special provision given to anyone. So rule of law, equality before law is 100% there. So अब ये 3 ऑप्शन आ गया. So you have people's responsibility, equality before law, and limitations on governmental power. So 1 and 2 is there. So 1 and 2 is there, and 3 is not there. So we will go for C, because 3 we have eliminated. 3 eliminate हुआ तो यहाँ से eliminate हो गया, अब ये बचा. Then we know 1 is there. So 1, 2 and 4. Limitations on the powers, equality before law, liberty and civil rights. That is something which is there. Predominance of rights, equality before law, and arbitrariness is not there. Okay, so this is something which we are going. So if you see how rule of law limits the government. For example, government want to stop somebody from speaking. It cannot do that because Article 19(1)(a) gives freedom of speech and expression. So actually law is limiting the power of government. So rule of law also is through the limitations. Okay, so we'll settle for C, 1, 2 and 4. Right to privacy is a case put to Swami versus Union of India, is part of Article 21 and part 3 of the Constitution. Article 14 is something different. There's no, the state shall not deny anyone equality before law and equal protection of laws within the territory of India. Article 17, untouchability is abolished and practice in any form is forbidden. Article 24, no child below the age of 14 years shall be allowed to work in a factory, mine or hazardous employment. So 21, no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except through the procedure established by law. So right to life includes right to die with dignity. Common cause versus Union of India. Right to privacy case Puttu Swami. Right to reputation Kiran Bedi case. Right to speedy trial Hussain Ara Khatun case. Right to environment MC Mehta case. Polluter pays principle Vellore Citizens Welfare Forum case. So many cases the Supreme Court has expanded the scope of Article 21 of the Constitution. So we'll settle for 12C. Which of the following articles of the Constitution safeguards one's right to marry a person? This is this requires explanation. Okay. Now, this question was asked by UPSC. What should be the answer? Now, few months back, the Supreme Court gave a judgment in Suprio case that you do not have the fundamental right to marry under Article 21. So now two controversial things are coming which is creating confusion in the minds of students. For example, there was this case, this question was asked by UPSC related to a case. I'm not going into the facts of the case, but in Shafin Jahan case, Supreme Court ruled that right to marry someone is a part of Article 21. Now Supreme Court says right to marry someone of the same gender is not part of Article 21. What is the difference in two judgment? First judgment wanted to say that you can marry anyone of your choice, but as permitted by law. As permitted by law. आप किसी से भी शादी कीजिए अगर law उसकी इजाजत देता है. Now in recent case Supreme Court said right to marry someone of the same gender we cannot allow because the law doesn't permit the same. So this is a prerogative of legislature. This is not the prerogative of judiciary to decide. So this was an expected line. Last year someone was appearing for interview and that student asked me, sir, what should be what you call given in this? In that I said last year before the judgment also कि Supreme Court will most likely say that marriage falls within the concurrent list, so it better decided by the parliament. Correct position क्या है? To marry someone of your choice is protected under Article 21 as long as you are marrying someone which is permitted by law. Any religion, any caste. अब जैसे Section 5 of Hindu Marriage Act, उसमें है कि भाई you cannot marry with a sapinda unless the culture allows the same. आप भाई बहनों में शादी Hindu Marriage Act में हो नहीं सकती है. So if unless the custom allows the same in southern part of the country, everyone has their beautiful culture, it should be respected. So they are there. So आप उसी से शादी कर सकते हैं. You can marry someone which is as per the law. Supreme Court says two people of the consensual sex between adults of the same gender in private is not an offense. Consensual sex between adults of the same gender in private is not an offense. But whether they will marry or not, this is purely the domain of legislature. If the parliament allows the same, they can marry. Those जैसे Special Marriage Act, you can marry a person of any religion. That we will say that marrying a person of your choice which is permitted by law is something that is protected by Article 21. But marrying heterosexual marriages are permitted. Homosexual marriages are not permitted. That is the prerogative of the legislature. उसके पीछे reason है. Supreme Court अगर rule कर दिया कि ठीक है homosexual marriages are valid now. अब उसके साथ 10 और laws हैं. What about divorce? What about inheritance? What about maintenance? What about adoption? What about the what you call how the property will be divided? How maintenance rights will be exercised? So marriage is not a personal thing; it is a social institution. It comes with 15 other things. So to directly rule on homosexual marriages is something which will also lead to other complications in the law. So Supreme Court better not interfere and maintain the separation of powers, requested the government to constitute a committee under cabinet secretary which will make a recommendation on this and they will decide. So this is the prerogative. ये क्वेश्चन जब आया था उस वक्त ऐसा कोई सवाल ही नहीं था. When this question came, it was शफीन जहां case, हदिया case. So right to marry someone of your choice is protected under Article 21 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. दोनों में अंतर है. किसी भी ऐसे शख्स को शादी करनी जो लॉ इजाजत देता है उसकी आपको फंडामेंटल राइट है, पर आपको यह फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं है कि मैं सेम सेक्स का शादी करूं क्योंकि लॉ इसकी इजाजत नहीं देता है. यू कैन मैरी समवन ऑफ योर चॉइस इफ इट इज परमिटेड बाय लॉ. यू कैन मैरी समवन ऑफ द सेम जेंडर विच इज नॉट परमिटेड बाय लॉ. दैट द लेजिस्लेचर विल डिसाइड, नॉट द जुडिशरी. हां, व्हाट द लेजिस्लेचर हैज परमिटेड, in that nobody can stop you from marrying someone of your choice. That is why this question was asked. Okay, which part of constitution is the welfare state? Clearly article 38 of the constitution mentions the term welfare state. So article 38 is directive principles of state policy. Seventh schedule is union list, state list and concurrent list. Marriage is in concurrent list. Preamble, I told you, fundamental rights have nothing to do with welfare state directly, although they also promote a sort of political democracy. But precisely welfareism is, what is welfare state? A state that the institutions of the state take care of social and economic well-being of its citizens. Social, economic and other all-round well-being of its citizens is a welfare state. A country may be socialist, then it will be welfareist, but not necessarily that all countries. अब इस पे फिर एक नया point. So for example, West Europe. वेस्ट यूरोप में वेलफेयरिज्म है कि नहीं है? ऑल ऑफ यू आर सो इंटेलिजेंट, यू आर अटेंडिंग द क्लास, यू आर मच्योर. अनइमेजिनेबल लेवल पर वेलफेयरिज्म है कि नहीं है जी? सो माई ओन यंगर ब्रदर स्टेज देयर, ही ऑलवेज नीड्स दिस दैट, कि हॉस्पिटल फ्री, दिस फ्री, दैट फ्री और दिस मेनी प्रिविलेजेस. सो वेलफेयरिज्म उन कंट्रीज में भी है जहां सोशलिज्म नहीं है. तो नॉट नेसेसरी दैट ओनली अ सोशलिस्ट स्टेट इज अ वेलफेयरिस्ट स्टेट, बट वेलफेयरिस्ट स्टेट नॉट नेसेसरीली इज अ सोशलिस्ट स्टेट ऑलवेज. इट कैन ऑल्सो बी अ कैपिटलिस्ट. सोशलिज्म क्या है? मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन आर ओन्ड बाय द सोसाइटी कलेक्टिवली. मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन आर ओन्ड बाय द सोसाइटी कलेक्टिवली. जैसे यू हैव मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, जैसे बैंकिंग सेक्टर. बिफोर 24 जुलाई 1991 डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह प्रेजेंटेड द बजट एंड नरसिम्हा कमिटी वाज मेड एंड देन बैंक प्राइवेटाइजेशन एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स स्टार्टेड. सो द पॉइंट इज कि अब नाउ द कॉमन सेंसिकल कंक्लूजन ओवर हियर इज कि भाई पब्लिक सेक्टर जो है, जैसे हाउसिंग डेवलपमेंट फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन और हांगकांग एंड शंघाई बैंकिंग कॉर्पोरेशन HSBC और इंडस्ट्रियल क्रेडिट इन्वेस्टमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया ICICI, these are private sector banks. So there is a private sector and there is also a public sector. State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank. उसी तरीके से you have Tata Steel and you have Steel Authority of India Limited. So there is a private sector as well as a public sector. So socialism means of production shall be owned collectively. Samaj. So in India, socialism does not mean all means of production are controlled. They can be mixed इकोनॉमी. सो सोशलिस्ट टेनोर इज देयर. अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भीम सिंह जी केस में कहा सोशलिज्म बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है पर वेलफेयरिज्म बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर है. सोशलिज्म इज नॉट वेलफेयरिज्म एंड नॉट नेसेसरीली दैट ओनली a capitalist socialist country can be welfare. A capitalist country where the means of production, जैसे इंडिया में, in Bihar Sudha, in UP Parag, in Delhi mother dairy. So even the milk and dairy products are provided by the state. So wide prevalent of state. So socialism hai, but those countries they prove welfareism, but everything is not owned by the government. Private sector, government pays you cash to avail that facility. So or government reimburses your medical expenses. So technically or government provides you certain facilities like parks and all. So not necessarily that always a socialist state only is a welfare state. Even a capitalist state can be a. So we'll settle for DPSP. Okay. Now with reference to the provisions contained in part 4, which of the following are correct? They shall be enforceable by courts. DPSPs are They are not enforceable by any court. So second statement is a correct statement. The principles are influence. Yes, Article 38 of the Constitution, state shall keep them in mind while making policies. So statement 2 and 3 is correct. We will settle for D for Delhi. Okay. Just few questions more we will take. Which of the following categories of fundamental rights protect against the untouchability as a form of discretion? What should be the answer? Right to equality. Right against exploitation is 23, 24. You're getting my point. Freedom is from 19. Then right to equality is 14 to 18. So it is 17. So it will be right to equality D for Delhi 16. This classification is given in the Constitution. In India, separation of judiciary is by Article 50 of the Constitution. The state shall take steps to separate judiciary from executive in the public services of the state. So separation of judiciary from executive in the public services of the state is a directive principle of state policy. So in India, separation of judiciary from executive is exercised by DP, SP. What you need to know that state civil servants. Now before independence, the PCS and IAS officers, ICS officers enjoyed a lot of magisterial powers. अभी क्या है, मैजिस्ट्रियल पावर्स ज्यादा स्टेट जुडिशियल सर्विस के पास है. सिविल सर्वेंट्स हैव लिमिटेड मैजिस्ट्रियल पावर विच इज नेसेसरी टू मेंटेन पब्लिक ऑर्डर. पब्लिक ऑर्डर के लिए जितने पावर की जरूरत उतना. क्यों? बिकॉज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सेज दैट यू हैव टू सेपरेट जुडिशरी फ्रॉम executive in the public services of the state. So judiciary को executive में separate करना है. So most of the powers from civil servant is now taken. Civil servants don't enjoy judicial power. They enjoy limited judicial power that is necessary to maintain public order, like imposition of section 144, 107, all these. But most of the judicial magistrates power has been given to judiciary, the subordinate judiciary, that is separation of जुडिशरी फ्रॉम एग्जीक्यूटिव इन द पब्लिक सर्विसेज ऑफ द स्टेट. समझ रहे हैं ना? तो अब आप आईएएस या आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स के पास, इफ यू आर इन अ कमिश्नरेट, आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स आल्सो एंजॉय जुडिशियल पावर्स बट लिमिटेड जुडिशियल powers. Getting my point? We'll just complete the year and then we will wrap up. Okay. So this is other than fundamental rights. Which of the following part of Constitution reflects the principles of United Nations Declaration of Human Rights? So preamble as UN Declaration of Human, even what you call fundamental duties have also Article 29 clause 1. Directive principles have so many principles inspired from Declaration of Human Rights or preamble में भी है. So we will settle for 1, 2 and 3. But most of the questions which we discussed here are not the questions that are going to be asked in the current mind of UPSC. These are relatively easy questions. Now they have twisted. ये तो आना ही चाहिए. This you should know, but you should also know other things. While reading newspaper, थोड़ा सा alert रहना है. We will have discussion on more important topics that will come from Article 20, that is year 2021 tomorrow that we have a class, because these questions are more what you call, they have changed the pattern and relatively asking what you call tougher questions. Okay, so we'll keep the discussion alive tomorrow. Okay.